Hello, everyone, and welcome into our latest live broadcast. Today it's the 19th of August, 2026. It's Wednesday. I'm Carey Holzman, and today we're going to talk a little bit about why you might want to reconsider if you're a negative Nelly when it comes to AI. We're going to show you some real-world examples where it can save your bacon. I almost said quite literally save your bacon. It actually could save your bacon because you could talk to AI about recipes, problem solving, troubleshooting, anything in your life, from computers to cars, things around the house, relationships, working on yourself, finding better ways to communicate both verbally and in email. It doesn't hold any sort of a barrier other than the importance of the information should be considered, such as getting an opinion on health should be taken very lightly. And of course, anything very, very serious should always be double checked with a professional. So we're going to demonstrate that today and show you how my workflow is changing because of AI and how, in a way, it's sort of making me dumber, but the key isn't necessarily to retain the information up here anymore. The key is now discerning if the information that you're seeing online is accurate. Unlike forums, when the information is not accurate, not much you can do about it. But with AI, when the information's not when the information rather provided by AI is inaccurate and you know it's false, you tell it back to AI, you respond back to it, and it self-corrects usually. So we're going to demonstrate that. You don't have to take my word for it. I'll show you. And to do that, we've got one of my favorite mini PCs of all time is the Minis Forum NAD, N-A-D, D like David, NAD 9. Now, this came out a couple of years ago. It did not sell very well, unfortunately. Of course it didn't, because it's probably one of the best machines they ever made, and the public just let it fly by, not knowing really what it was. And so they canceled it, and moved on to other designs that sell better. There's a reason why I still have it today. It's amazing. So last night I hooked this up and I did all of the updates to Windows on it. I think it still had Windows 11 2024 on there. So I put all the updates on it, and I checked the Minis Forum website for a BIOS update, and this isn't even on their modern support site. I had to go to the old support site, which is still out there. Found, in fact, there was a newer BIOS update for this. And my guess is that BIOS update is not going to work. And I'm going to show you how AI will fix it for us. But I don't know what's going to happen yet. All right, so we're just going to try it and see. If it works right, from the download site, I'll be surprised, because Minis Forum's programmers are using something called WMIC, which has been around for like 25 years. And Microsoft said, we're not doing that anymore. So what's been happening is a lot of the batch files for drivers and BIOS updates, they just open and close. They don't do anything. There's no error message, nothing. So I'm going to show you how AI can explain why that's doing that and how to fix it and provide the answer to us. It's just asking, copying, pasting, and then run it again, and it'll work perfectly. Is that what's going to happen? We are live, unrehearsed. I only have one machine, so I don't have, this one make and model rather, so I don't have another one to test it on before showtime. So we're just going to go with live rounds here, and we'll experience it together either way. I want to give a shout out to our good friends over at VIP-URCDKEys. If you're a regular here, then you already know that's where I get my Windows and Office license keys for my business clients. They have to be legal, they have to be competitively priced, and I have to have a way to talk to support if there's any problems. It's pretty rare to find that online. Usually it's a good price, but they just kind of ghost you after the sale. Like, here's your key, go away, kid, you bother me. So VIP-URCDKEys, when I found them, I had gone through a number of different websites trying to find a cheaper source for legal license keys. And maybe I'll make a video out of that someday. I didn't record any of it, but it was just one scammer after another. So when I finally found a real licensed seller where the prices were almost too cheap to believe, I tested it numerous times in various ways, and it passed. I did a minimum of 3 tests over a series of about 6 weeks, and perfect. So if you want to learn more about it, if you look at any of my live videos like this one I'm going to put here on the screen. Is that not? That's not it. Hold on. Here's the video right here. When we put this, when you watch one of my live videos here, if you scroll down, you'll see that gray box. Just hit the more button right there where my mouse is, and you're going to see all the video notes open up, which is all the links for everything we're talking about in that video, including the links for the Office and Windows license keys. You do not have to use those links. They're there for you. They're not there for me. All right, so that takes you right to the product. You don't have to go searching. Once you're there, like let's say we want this Windows 11, you hit the Buy Now button, and it's going to ask you to sign in if you haven't yet signed in. If you don't have a sign in, it's free to create one. Essentially, they need your email to send you your receipt and your private product key and the download link in the instructions. Okay, so that's what they want it for. If you want to save even more money, right here under promotion code, put my name, Carey, and hit apply and watch that price drop 25%. That's the price I pay. That's how I purchase it. I even have to put my own name in the promotion code. So you're getting my price. Then you choose how you want to pay. And then once you've selected how you want to pay, hit the Pay Now button on the bottom right. And you'll fill out the forms or the questions that need to be filled out for that payment method, which is the same with any other online purchase with that payment method. There's nothing different about it. If you have any questions, they have 24/7 tech support. When you make your purchase, you probably get that receipt with a download link and an activation key in about 2 minutes, day or night, 365 days a year. If you have problems, ask their chat. Their chat's right there. They're there to help you. If their chat isn't helping you or you aren't getting satisfaction, you reach out to me personally. I personally guarantee these keys. They do work. They are legitimate. They are legal. So I want you to buy with peace of mind that you know you're not dealing with a scammer. Also, they're not commission-based links. Don't buy it for me. Let me be very clear. I'm a service provider. My clients that pay me for this. You guys get it for free. So essentially, I provide you the link so you don't have to search for it. I provide you the discount code, but you don't have to use it. And if you choose to use the link or you use the promo code, that's there for you. That's not there for me. That's for you. I'm trying to save you any guesswork. If you follow the steps, you'll get the exact same results every time, and I guarantee it. All right? I don't make any money because you bought it or you didn't buy it. So don't buy it if you don't need it, okay? Do us both a favor. Because you get that support for 6 months. So if you buy a key and you let it sit over 6 months and you have a problem with it, they are no longer promising to help you. They might, they might not, because that's very scammerish behavior. It doesn't really make any sense. Why would you buy a key and then all of a sudden 8 months later, you're using it for the first time? Sounds like a stolen key. So that's up to their discretion, but for 6 months for sure, they're there to help you, all right? And that's a lot more. That's about 6 months more than you're going to get from any other seller. So that's why I use them. That's how I buy my keys. That's what I pay. And the prices are subject to change a little bit here and there based on the foreign exchange rate of your currency, of your country, and the exchange rate of the country they're in. But regardless, it's still the same Windows. It's still the same license. It's still legal. Right? Our friend Buster joins us in the chat room and sends us a Amazon gift card. Thank you, Buster. We hope you're feeling well today. He's joining us from Edinburgh, Scotland. Usually he tells us what the weather is there. It's usually pretty chilly. Let's see. There he is. Hello, Carey, Mara, and Sable, and everyone in the chat, he says. The temperature in Edinburgh right now, granted, it's probably about 9 or 10 o'clock, probably 10 o'clock at night over there. 56 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 13.3 degrees Celsius and raining. Appreciate that, Buster. One of these days, I'll see it firsthand with my own eyes. Montana says hello in the chat. There's Jonathan Fells, Gary Tatum, and Dan. Sean Skinner, Michael Lavelle, David Graham, Mark Gaines, all joining us in the chat saying hello. We are live, and the main thing that we do here with our live videos is we love to interact with you, so we hope you participate and join us with the interaction, not only with myself, but with each other, because you're missing half the show if you ain't doing it. Just telling you. You know, you don't want to, we're not going to force you, but boy, are you missing out. Eugene Eldago says hello. Eddie Casanova and 3D Everything join us. Ben Laird, also from Scotland, says hello. There's John F9M3L saying hello. Let's see, 3D Everything, Florin Gruia, Bill Holmes, all saying hello in the chat, along with Andy W6AD, Transvat, Jim Kenny, Scott Messerschmidt, Richard DeFries saying hello in our chat. Edward Bass joins us as well. Stephen DeToit from South Africa says hello. He says spring is starting here and winter is starting to fade. It was 30 degrees at 12 in the afternoon. I guess he's talking Fahrenheit, because 30 would be pretty warm if it's Celsius. Maybe he means warm. Maybe he means Celsius. Jit9578 says hello. Bill Holmes says he's looking for a 32 gig graphics card. Cha-ching. Whew. I know those 24 gigabyte ones are pretty expensive. I can't imagine what 32 would cost. David Graham said he had his friend said his phone was stolen. It has pictures of all of his passwords and accounts on it. And it's not locked. Well, you know, may not choose to lock his front door. He might leave his windows open in his house. He might not roll up his windows and lock his doors on his car. He might be one of those people that just doesn't think it's going to affect them, and then typically one day it does, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what a tragedy. Completely avoidable. And you know, saying, oh, I didn't know isn't an excuse anymore. So it's hard to feel any sympathy for somebody that wants to play with fire. They will get burned more than likely, unless they stop playing with it and start taking it seriously and respectfully. It's just a matter of time. So hopefully it won't happen again, but sometimes that's how lessons have to get learned from some people. You're just going to live in a world where they say, this doesn't work for me. That's everybody else, but it doesn't happen to me. And maybe they could live their whole life and they're right. But what if they're wrong? And we see messages like that in the chat, and it's like, well, we try warning people, try getting them prepared, and either they're going to do it or they're not, you know. So there it is. It's predictable. Luke Grania joins us from Vermont. We're at 73 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey, that sounds pretty nice. And Stephen Detroit said, yeah, he means 30 degrees Celsius. Yeah, well, everybody uses Celsius but us, it seems, so there you go. Mark Leibowitz, computer technician from Chicago, says hello. He said, it's not so hot, but it's humid enough that I have the air conditioning on. Yeah. Yeah. That's how air conditioning works. Takes the humidity out of the air. You can really feel better. The AC can feel better when it's humid out than when it's hot out. Like the difference between inside and outside is going from sort of moist into completely dry. The human skin, boy, it feels it. I guess unless you're really hairy, maybe not so much. Dustin Fuller says hello in our chat. Welcome in. And there's Old Man Timer saying hello as well. So, all right, guys. So this was buried back in the shelf. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. And it is absolutely one of my absolute favorites. And this thing's spec'd out pretty nicely. It's 64 gigs of DDR4. It's an Intel i9-12900H CPU. I put a 2 terabyte Phasian drive in here. That's a Gen 4 NVMe with Windows 11 Pro. And we did this video back in 2024? Maybe 2023. I don't know what year this was. You'll remember it if you've been watching the channel for a while. It's a very distinct looking Mini. So why do I like it so much? Well, the specs on it, first of all, are fantastic. But it also looks really cool. So there's one thing to have a piece of electric equipment or a powerful car that's like a sleeper. It's nothing much to look at. And it's a whole nother thing to have a car that's sexy and powerful, right? It strikes at the emotional side of things. And this, I think we have to put screws in here because it has, well, we don't, if I was going to set this up permanently, it's got this little base. So the idea is, just if you haven't seen it or as a reminder, that there's some holes, like keyhole style holes. And then I think you just unscrew these screws, just loosen them up and then slide it in there. And you've got this really sleek looking, at least I think so, very attractive computer. Look at all the ports we've got on there. And of course, what I think is probably one of the best mini PCs Minisforum has ever made was not a market success. So what happens to things that aren't market successes is they replace it with some other different design, whatever sells. So what I'm going to do, I'll rest it on this base. I'm not going to tighten it down. You don't even need the base, really. We could just set it like that. But I think it looks really, really cool on there. And let's get it plugged in and turned on and get on with the show, eh? So let me see here. I need Ethernet and I need an HDMI cable. So this goes to our streamer. I probably should have taken the power supply out of the box. Never too late. Hold on a second. Let's go ahead and get a keyboard plugged in there as well, and just plug it in up here. Now we do have a lot of USB ports on this. There's looks like 2 USB 2s on the back that are Type A, 2 USB 3s that are Type A, and 2 USB Type Cs in the back, and 2 HDMI outputs. I mean, everything about this thing is so awesome. I love it. All right, let's go back over here and get that power supply out of there. And you can see my silver Sharpie that I wrote the power supply belongs to, you know, which mini PC, because they all kind of look alike, but they have different wattages. And this thing's going to require a little bit more power than some of the other PCs of that era. I know I talk about it like it was 20 years ago, but this tech moves quick. All right, we'll put that back so you know what we're working on. In fact, I guess that's kind of covering up the name, isn't it? I see, I've got it upside down. Now, does that cover it up? Covers it up. Gotta go down here. All right. Those are just my notes. My chicken scratch. Only person that can decipher it is me. My handwriting is better than AES 256 encryption. All right, we're gonna plug that in, and then the other thing I love is this uses a standard PC power cable, which, you know, I never run out of those. So let me grab one. That's called a C13 power cable. Single most popular power cable for desktop computers in the world. Nothing proprietary here. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on. There we go, blue light comes on. Let's hope I don't knock it over. Again, it doesn't need to be on its little perch. I just think it looks cool. And then let's go over here, and we'll get the video output of this on the screen. And then let me put myself down in a corner. Geez, it's already booted. Holy cow. All right, I shouldn't be surprised. Let's reboot it because I want to see its boot time while we're live. I'm just curious. We'll do a shutdown. Shut her down. Whoops, darn it. Mouse kind of slipped on the table as I was pushing the button. Hate it when that happens. So usually, yeah, it just puts it to sleep there. So let me try this again. There. All right, so you'll see how fast it shuts down. Is it off already? Power light went out? Crazy. Power light's back on. All right, let's check our boot time on this old machine. A few years old, a couple years old. Morton joins us and says hello. Did you get that? Okay, so let me go full screen over here. Let's take a look at our specifications and make sure everything matches. I feel like that might be in 4K. It's looking really tiny. Display setting, it's 4K. Let's drop that down, 1920 by 1080, so Oz can read it. Keep the changes to 125%. It's a little better. Okay, that's better. Let's right-click on the Start menu and go to System. And we'll verify, yeah, there's our Intel 12th Gen 12900H, Core i9. 64 gigs of DDR4 is installed. The graphics are borrowing 128 megs because they're built into the CPU. And we have that Beijing 2 terabyte drive. We're running Windows 11 Pro 25H2, latest build. And it should be activated. Activation settings. There we go. Come on. Or just go here, see if Windows is activated. And it says active. That's what we're looking for right there. All right, now when it comes to the BIOS, we can run something like the Intel driver and support assistant, or we can run CPU-Z. Either one of those will get our BIOS. So if I run the Intel support assistant, for example, let's go to the Start menu and type Intel. There it is, right there. Driver and support assistant. And then we scroll down here and it'll tell us we're on 10B. I know that looks like 108. They shouldn't use the letter B. But there it is, 10B. And it looks like 2023. So this is a little older than I remember. But still, fantastic machine. Wi-Fi 6E is on there. It's very, very well equipped. And especially when you consider when 3 years ago, RAM wasn't that expensive and nor was storage. It was a hell of a bargain. All right, so we already went to the Minis Forum, the old website, the old support site, because Minis Forum's new website does not have this model. I don't know why, but if we look under downloads, this is the BIOS here. If I double click on that, you'll see the BIOS is now 101 instead of 10B. So this is newer. It's also got a date of, looks like May 11th of 2024. Yeah, look at all the dates here. So that 24/05/11, that's clearly the date. It aligns with the date modified here. And usually they have a batch file that you run. So here it says fwin.bat. What I'm guessing is they're using the older deprecated commands that Microsoft has retired because they're a security breach. There's AFU win. I don't know which one I'm supposed to run, fwin or AFU win. Fwin. Windows batch file. They're both Windows batch files. Let me see. If I right click on it and let's open it, let's edit it. Edit in Notepad. I'm just kind of curious what this is calling. Don't know what that's doing. Let me take a look at the other one. AFU win.bat. It's going to be one of these two. Edit with Notepad. That's the one I'm looking for. So this command right here is actually the BIOS flash. And before I've shown you how I work around this with my experience if this part doesn't work. But the MSHTA command, Visual Basic script, may not work anymore. So there's one way to find out. Let's double click it and then run and see if it works. See how it opens and closes? Oh, I was hoping that was going to happen because that's kind of the key to today's show. All right, so you say, well, something's wrong. I must be doing something wrong. Who do you call for help? I'm going to call Gemini. I'm going to get rid of camera 1 so you can see the whole screen. I don't want anything to be inadvertently hidden from you. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this, we're going to right click on this batch file. We're going to open it in Notepad again. I'm going to hit Control A on the keyboard to highlight everything. And Control C on the keyboard to copy everything. I'm going to open my browser. I'm going to go to gemini.google.com and it says, hey, what do you need? And I'm going to say, I am trying to update my Minisporum NAD9 BIOS, but the batch file just opens and closes. Here is the contents of batch file. And don't worry about typos. I mean, for the most part, it knows what you mean, okay? So I copied and pasted that right in there. And it says the batch file opens and closes immediately because the script is designed to request administrator privileges and then exit once it finishes. So if we scroll down, I got to use the right mouse here. Scroll down. And it says that you can do this troubleshooting stuff, right? Which is what I would do as a human. So I would say this instead. Please fix the batch file for me. Here's the new batch file. And this little logo right here, this is the copy. This is so it'll copy everything in the black box. Real easy, just click that once. Then we're going to go back into Notepad. And since we still have it highlighted, we can just hit the backspace key to delete all that and press Control V again to paste. This is the new updated controls. And we just want to make sure that, I don't really care what all this says. It's the actual command. I don't want AI to change any of this, okay? And I normally would keep maybe them open side by side to compare them, but this looks right. It doesn't look like it's modified it. Let's go ahead and just save this on top of itself now that it's updated. Close the window and let's just minimize. Oh, if you want to know, explain each line. It'll break it down for you so you can actually learn how to write your own code. That's how I learned, was I would just figure out what each line did. But here, I don't have to do it that way anymore. I can just have it tell me. It'll go through line by line. What does this code do? What do the little switches do? It's all explained. Now, in theory, on our first try, that should work. So when I hit AFU win.bat and I double click it, Ask me if I want to run it. Opens and closes. Let me make sure I've got everything correct here. Let's go edit in Notepad. One other thing I could try. Oh, let's do this. Here's the thing about what makes this different from a Google search. Still opens and closes. We can continue the conversation. So it's giving us open your fixed batch file, no elevation, forced pause. Open your batch file, delete everything inside, paste this code to save it. That's awfully weak. I would have loved to have seen. This window will now stay open and display any error code. Oh, I see what it wants us to do. It wants us to not close that window. You know how it's automatically closing, so we can't see what the error is. How about, I'm not real happy with that. Please rewrite the code so admin privileges, boy, I'm typing that, privileges run as the original. Let's see if it's going to try something else to do that. Automatically request. So the question is this MSHTA still supported, or can we do this another way? So instead of relying on see, and this is what we're talking about. Let's do this one instead. So we'll hit copy code. We'll go back into Notepad here. So we'll open this in Notepad, right click, edit in Notepad. Control A to highlight everything in here. And Control V will overwrite it with everything we copied. And then save it on top of itself. Now we'll close this and we'll close, well, let's just double click AFU WinBat here and see if it works. Now we hit run and run again. And yes, for user account control, still opens and closes. Okay, still opens and closes. And of course, if I was logged in, I wouldn't be seeing this, but I could just take screenshots instead of typing things. Okay, this typically happens for 3 reasons, blah, 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 how to diagnose, yeah. So it's still showing us how to do it by hand, which again, with my experience, this is how I would do it. But I'm gonna say, please fix batch file so it works. Says this is the fixed batch file. Okay, make sure that the files are in the folder, blah, blah, blah. That's awfully simple. I don't think that's what I was expecting. Well, it's definitely not what I was expecting. But let's go ahead and try this again. We'll go back to the batch file. Right click, edit in Notepad. Control A and Control V will replace everything, and then save it. And then we'll run it again. Let's see, it's supposed to leave this box open now, so if it does crash out, we'll see what it says. Ah, it's working now. We are now flashing the BIOS. What this tells you, basically, and the message I'm trying to send to you through this video, through this live demonstration, is even though me, with my experience and my 30 plus years of history in this industry, I know how to work around that by hand. You don't have to. And even though I was asking Gemini for specific things with my background knowledge, you don't have to do that either. You can just follow along with Gemini's instructions, and if it doesn't work as expected, tell Gemini that didn't work. Find another way. Gemini will say no problem. And this isn't just Gemini, by the way. Any chatbot will work for this. You want to use ChatGPT or Microsoft's Copilot, DeepSeek, whatever, right? I just use Gemini. I'm normally signed into my Google account, which I have to be broadcasting on YouTube. In this computer, I'm not signed into anything because it's just it's a demo unit, right? So I should be using this, but I'm not. I don't really have any purpose for it, but well, I wish I did because I'd be using it every day. But as you can see now, the BIOS update's working as it should. When Miniswarm released that BIOS, that command that they're trying to execute, I believe, has since been deprecated as a security risk. I think that's what's happening. So what I would do is I would just drop down to DOS and go in there and type it in by hand, but you better make sure you get all those command line switches, as we found out the hard way, the system wouldn't boot because I forgot to do that. By using a chatbot to rewrite the code for you, you don't have to learn the code, and you don't have to worry about trying to follow instruction. Just copy and paste and report back what your results are. Now, if this worked correctly, as you can see, the computer's restarting now. This restart may take a little longer than normal, but if it never does post, then we just smoked it. Actually, the BIOS update shouldn't even work if it's for the wrong motherboard, but these old school BIOSes that execute in DOS, it's still possible. You know, it's kind of old-fashioned the way they're doing this. With a modern motherboard with the graphical user interface, you wouldn't even enter into any of this anyway. Or if you're getting your BIOS updates through Windows Update. I love this machine. I don't have any complaints with whatever BIOS it had. I'm just looking for an excuse to demonstrate how you can use AI to help you. Well, a lot of people complain about AI. It's got pros and cons, and only looking at the cons is doing yourself a disservice. If you see only the bad in something and you can't or you won't see the good in it, that's on you. That's your burden to carry. With everything you see that you can find a complaint about, you should also be able to find something good to say about it. If you can't find anything good to say about it, that tells me more about you than it tells me about the thing you're complaining about. I'd like to hear a little bit of balance. When people are complaining, I like to hear, well, I like this and I like that. But I don't like this, 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 I don't, you know, they could have a list of 25 things they don't like. But if I say, well, what do you like? And you say nothing, I don't need to hear any more from you. Like, I get it. Now it doesn't even matter why you don't like it anymore. There's no point in telling me all the things you don't like about it. I got your message. You don't like it. There's nothing about it you like. And there's no reason for you to go into detail and justify to me every reason, every negative reason you can think of. Because you've already said it. When you said there's nothing about it I like, then iterating all of the individual things is just repeating what you already said with specificity, which I don't need. But what I want to hear from somebody is, you know, they did this good or they did that good. But unfortunately, the things that I don't like far outweigh that. Like, I don't like this and I don't like this. Now I'm interested in specificity because we have something to compare it to. But if it's nothing you like about it, there's no reason to specify everything you don't like. I got it. It's pointless. You're just repeating what you've already said with details that are irrelevant and don't change your perspective. Your perspective has been made clear. I'm not saying you're wrong. I understood you. You don't need to justify it to anybody because all you're doing, again, is to repeat myself. You're just repeating yourself. So now when we go and check the BIOS on this, we should not see that 10B Is that what it said before, right? Now it should be whatever it was on the BIOS file. I can't remember. Go back to the downloads folder. What was it called? 101, or is that an L? It looks like it's a lowercase l. So we'll go back to Intel's driver and support assistant. Or again, we could use CPU-Z. Or we can just go in the BIOS and look. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Scroll down, and there it is, 10L. And the date is newer too, 5/11/2024. BIOS update is now successful. We'll never need that ever again. So to avoid any temptation or confusion in the future, we delete it. You'll never ever need that again. Now, in other examples of how you could use Gemini, you could, for example, let's go back here. Say, and by the way, if you have a microphone, you can just talk to it. You can run this on your phone and talk to it like you're talking to somebody on the other end of the phone. You don't have to type things. If there's an error that appears on your screen, you can take a picture of the error and then hit the plus sign and add that picture, and it'll read it and then respond to you in text. So you can take a picture of a building. Let's say you're downtown and say, what building is this? Oh, that's the Prudential Center in Southfield, Michigan. You could take a picture of, the make and model of your refrigerator usually has a sticker inside the door. You could take a picture of that and then add that photo to Gemini. And you don't need to be on a computer, like a desktop or a laptop. You could do this right on your phone. Just add the photo right from your phone. You can download the app, like the Gemini app, or you can just open the browser. The app is a lot faster. You just hit one button and there's Gemini. I have replaced Google with Gemini now. I don't use Google search, very rarely. Now I'd rather use Gemini. It does all the work for you. And it's going to make you dumber, but make you more efficient, and you don't need this information to be memorized anymore. So let's say I look in my refrigerator and, I don't know, the water filter light is on. I can take a picture of the sticker that's got the make and model, which is usually a bunch of random letters and numbers, or they appear to be. It's like 30 characters long. Ridiculous. Lots of opportunity for typo. Just take the picture. Upload it. It says, oh, you've got a GE Frigidaire, whatever, model so-and-so. And you're like, yeah, I need a water filter for it. Okay, this is the water filter you need. And then you can... Now, what an AI agent will do is the AI agent will actually go and do the work. But this is telling you what to do, and you do the work. That's the only difference between an AI chatbot and an AI agent. So let's say, for example, I get a lot of spam in my Gmail, and I don't want to see it anymore. Is there a way to automatically delete spam on arrival? Now, this assumes that you're confident you're not going to get any false spam, right? False positives. But like for me, I get, when my spam folder gets messages, it's been a long time since anything's been miscategorized. And it says, the problem is the spam folder builds and holds stuff for 30 days, which you can ignore and it'll just automatically delete after 30 days. But you can set up a custom filter and then say delete it. But if I delete it, it goes to trash, which I still have to empty, or it will empty itself after 30 days. I don't want to see it. You can keep your trash completely out of sight. You can ignore it. Okay, how about a script? Yep. And if you've never written a script before, this tells you exactly how to go to script.google.com, sign in, copy and paste this code. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look over here on the left-hand panel, click on this, look for services, click on the plus. Like it is every single step, just the way I would make a video showing you. It doesn't just say click on this. It tells you where to look to see what it's guiding you to click on. And then how to set it on a schedule so you can have it run every 5 minutes, have it run once a day, whatever you want to do with what they call a trigger. And then you test it and make sure that it works. And it runs in the cloud on Google servers. So anytime you want to check your Gmail, the only time you should see any spam in there is in between the time period between when this runs. So if I have this running, let's say we have it run every 30 minutes, and then it runs right now, but spam comes in between now and 29 minutes from now. If I check my Gmail, I'll see some spam in there. Just ignore it, because whatever this interval is, the next interval, it'll clean it out. So you don't have to do it by hand anymore. This also means, however, that if something is miscategorized as spam, I will never know because I'll never see it. So, these tools can kind of be your own worst enemy if you're not careful with how you use them. Now, in my example, I've been using Gmail for, 20 plus years. And the spam filter is so good now that, at least with all the tuning I've done with it and trained it, I can't tell you when I've had anything misdetected as spam in my Gmail. That's how long it's been. So my feeling is just let the script run and just keep emptying it out, then I don't have to look at it. And then it won't move it to the trash. It just completely deletes it. Now, of course, you can have it remove to the trash, and then you can just inspect your trash before you empty it. Or you can be like most people and ignore both the spam and trash folders, and they'll just empty themselves out of any messages that are 30 or more days old and keep everything else younger than that until they reach the age of Logan's Run, at which point they must die. Okay. Now, let me give you another example, because this just never stops with how you can use it in so many ways. Let's go back to Gemini. Oops. Gemini.google.com. Now, again, you don't have to run it in a browser. If we go to the Microsoft Store, there's probably a Gemini app, just like on your phone, that you can put on the desktop, or you can make your default website Gemini. So every time you open your browser, it goes right here. But here's AI chatbot for Gemini. That's what I want. Now, I don't want the agent. I don't want it doing the work. In Studio, we don't want that either. That's a little bit more advanced. And there's ChatGPT if you want to use that instead. Almost all of them have apps. So you can also go to their websites, okay? With that installed, it's installing still. We should have a desktop icon that'll take us immediately right to Gemini. You might prefer one over the other. It's up to you. And if you have a phone, you might want to put this on your phone. If you find that you've been locked out of your car, the car won't start. It's one thing to Google where's a tow truck company. It's another thing to see if you can fix it yourself right there on your own. If it's something simple, then it'll tell you what to check. So here it should be, yeah, it's now installed. Let's open it. And now it's going to look pretty similar to the browser. Unlock Pro, subscribe. Gemini without limits. So it is sort of limited on the free version, and that's fine. Let's start a chat. Every chat you've ever had will be recorded here for your reference, and you can delete them if you want to remove them, or you can just save them as something you can refer back to in the future. Let's start a new chat. And I'm going to say, oh, I get 5 free questions on the app. So I think the website isn't that limited. In fact, I've never hit a limit on the website version of Gemini. Well, let's just compare them anyway. I have eggs, butter, and chicken, and raw chicken breast, along with cheese, I'll say various cheeses and spices in stock. What can I make? What do I want for dinner? Well, what do you got? Well, here's a bunch of things you could make with a mixture of those things I listed. Okay? So, loaded cheesy chicken omelet or frittata, cheese-crusted pan-fried chicken cutlets, butter-basted chicken with a fried egg on top, Hasselback cheesy stuffed chicken, spice and cheese, pairing ideas. Give me a detailed recipe card for Italian style. There's your recipe. And here's the recipe card that you can print. Let's see, what else can I ask it? Any suggestions from the chat room? Rish Labs said this is not Gemini, this is a third-party app using the Gemini model. Okay, that's good to know. I've never put the Gemini app on the desktop before. I always put it on my phone, and of course it's official from the phone, and it does seem a little different to me, so that points that little detail out, and something you should watch for. If I go back to the Microsoft Store and just look again, let me close this out for now. Let's see if we have another Gemini and I missed it. Usually you can sort, like on the phone, you sort by popularity. See, this one says powered by Gem LLM. You would think Google's own product would be first. That's why I clicked on it. I definitely don't want an invoice maker. I don't know what that's got to do with anything other than it's an ad that pops up. So the other thing you can do is just type in Gemini AI official. See if that pulls anything up. There's Gemini. Gemini. Watch these sneaky things. Now they should be virus free. They're just trying to collect your data, but it's still sneaky. They're kind of AI chatbot for Google Gemini. That looks like the official thing to me, but the logo does look a little different. The logo looks inside out. And it's got a good number of stars. Where is the Gemini app? Yeah, that's the Gemini logo, this gem. See how that's inside out? That's suspect. Why am I not finding it? It's super easy to find on the Google Play Store. Why not the Microsoft Store? Let's see if we can change our sort by apps. Gemini. If I just put in Gemini, it brings up ChatGPT. Boy, that looks official. Gemio. Maybe just stick with the browser. This is terrible. Let's go to the, I'm just curious now. I'm really curious. Let's go to, this will be a funny one. Let's go to gemini.google.com and say, where is the desktop app for this? We're going to use Gemini to find Gemini. Assuming you're looking for the desktop app for Google. No. I want the desktop app for Gemini. For Windows, Google does not currently provide an official native standalone desktop app. That's stunning. It just wants you to just go to gemini.google.com. All right, well, we learned that lesson together. Everybody else has an app. You'd think Google would have an app. They do have an app for Android and iOS. They don't have one for Windows. Isn't that weird? So the app we downloaded is a third party, so that's a correct conclusion in the chat room. But it is a legitimate app. It has to be scanned and everything before it's even allowed on the Microsoft Store. Sometimes things slip through, but you can see the name of the company here. That's the actual maker. But we can just uninstall it. No harm done. Lessons learned. But the trick is to retrain your brain on how you go looking for answers. A lot of times, especially those of us that are older, we look and then if there's nothing, we give up. It's like, well, there just isn't anything. This will do a much more thorough inspection than any human can do, and it's more consistent. It's not always right, but it is consistent. Okay, so let's go back over to the chat and see what other questions you might have. Rich Lab said the Microsoft Store is terrible. There's no vetting of junk. Well, it could be junk, but it's not dangerous junk in the sense of viruses and stuff. As I mentioned, even the Apple Store sometimes slip through, or even the Google Play Store. But they're on it pretty regularly, maintaining something that comes up as dangerous or harmful gets removed almost immediately upon being discovered. So it's pretty safe. Even if the apps are junk, it's safe junk, with exceptions. But I appreciate the feedback, and it's definitely something for you to consider. And yeah, they're trying to get you to, as Grish Lab says, they're trying to just get you to pay for a service that's not even theirs. And if you don't know any better, well, you'll pay. That's why I'm here, to help you know what to look for. And so I didn't know that because I've never tried it. I just assumed it was there, and I was wrong. And again, it's a matter of just going back to Gemini, even if it's a question about Gemini. If it's a question about how do I approach my boss for a raise, what's the best way to do that? Somebody just said something to me. What's the best way I can respond? And if the response doesn't sound like you say, well, can you give me another way to say that that's maybe a little more sarcastic or has a little more levity? And it'll keep giving you suggestions until you find one you like, and then use that as your response. David Graham said he's got the little avatar for the web-based version of Copilot. Yeah, some people prefer Copilot. I don't have a Microsoft account, and Copilot wants that before it'll let you use it, just as Gemini wants a Google account. And since I have a Google account, I just use the Google version. Google and Microsoft are like the Coke and Pepsi of the world, and I'm more of a Gemini/Google person than I am a Microsoft person. Rich Lab said, I pay for ChatGPT Plus, but I still have to go to Gemini more often because Google has what no one else has, an index. Gemini just frankly has the most reliable answers from what he has found and the things he's searching for. I appreciate the feedback. On my frozen pizza reviews channel, I've done 50 frozen pizza reviews. And right in the title, I have the name of the pizza, who makes it, and its score 0 out of 10. So what I did is I opened Notepad and I copied every single title from all 50 videos into Notepad. Okay, so now I just have 50 titles with the scores. And I copy that Notepad into Gemini, and I say, I want to make a video putting, sort of an overview, a summary of these last 50 pizza reviews, showing the top 5 and the bottom 5, make that list. So even though they're in no particular order of score, I could do this in Excel, right? I just copy and paste it, tell Gemini to do it, and boom, there's my response. And I could tell Gemini, show this in tiers. Show, if I included the price, show me the top 5 out of these 50 or whatever I have, right? In this case, in real life, there's 50. If I include the price in that title, which I didn't do, then I can say, show me the best top 5, highest scoring, lowest price. And it instantly sorts it. And again, I could do this in Excel. I've always been able to do this in Excel. But then you have to learn how to use Excel, right? If you know how to use it, it's no big deal. But I guarantee me not knowing how to use it, I'll get the answer and the end result faster than you will when you do know how to do it. Because Gemini does it for you. It does it so quick. It's just a matter of thinking of things. What else could I ask? What else do I want to know? What is it around the house that's really been bothering me that I've always been meaning to get around to fix? Whatever it is, ask Gemini how to fix it. I don't know what it is. Take a picture of it. When I was at Studio B, there was a French door refrigerator, and it has this little flap. And the flap is supposed to have a spring on it, and apparently where the spring goes in, the plastic busted off. So in order to close the refrigerator doors, you have to move that little flap by hand. On more than one occasion, when just closing the doors and walking away, you come back and realize there's still a gap in the refrigerator, letting all the cold air out until you've realized you've left the door open. Because the flap is blocking the other door from closing. I don't have any problem changing that flap. I just did not know what it was called. This is just a couple years ago, and the way I resolved it is I went to Google and I said, what is the flap called on a French door refrigerator? And it came back and told me it's called a moulin. Of course, it's a French word, right? Today, all I'd have to do was take a picture of the French door refrigerator and, ask what's that flap in the middle called, and it'll look at the picture and tell me what that is. Then I can take a picture of the model number refrigerator and say, what's the part number and how do I replace that part? And it'll come up with, here's the part number, so you can go shop yourself on Amazon or wherever, or you can ask it, can you point me out to where I could buy this? And it will. You can say, can you show me a YouTube video of, let's just try this. Can you show me a video on how to replace, I won't even call it a moulin, refrigerator, French door, refrigerator, flap. It's pretty good at trying to understand what you mean. There's the moulin right there. And there's the video showing you how to do it for a Samsung. Here's how to do it for an LG. And again, it knows when I said flap, I meant to say moulin. Oh my gosh, everything's getting so much easier. And that means my role as a technician is changing, or it's time to retire if I don't want to adapt. Because I can use this to strengthen my services to my customers, or I can use it to throw in the towel and say, well, I'm done learning. Apparently, all of my skills are useless now. The fact of the matter is my experience is irreplaceable. And my skills are not just limited to answering simple questions. Some things I can still do faster and understand faster and get to the solution faster than a chatbot. It's not going to stay that way. There's no AI agent that's going to come over to your house and unplug your toilet. All right? That's just never going to happen. There are still things that human beings have to do. And if you're in a service industry, an AI chatbot isn't going to change the spark plugs or change the oil in your car, right? You're going to need tools. You need a way to dispose of the old oil. You need the skill. You need it helps if you have experience, so you don't struggle and you can get more done faster and you can make money. If you're looking for, depending on your career, if this is something that you feel is threatening to you, learn how to use it to help you instead of just seeing it as an enemy. There are bad guys that will be using this against you. There's nothing you can do about that. Somebody could attack you with a hammer or drive over you with a car. These tools were not made to be used in that way. It's not a problem with the tool. That's a problem with humans. You learn how to fix that, you let me know. But mostly humans use these tools for their intended purpose, and that makes life better. AI is no different than any other tool. And as we advance more in AI, at some point I will probably make a video showing you how to use an AI agent. But I don't use AI agents. It's, in my opinion, much too early. But if you're the kind of pioneering person that likes to be first and you like that sort of Lewis and Clark sort of digital world, have at it. It could be a lot of fun. But there could be some pretty severe consequences where data gets erased or, lessons get learned because you're, getting in that as a pioneer. That's to be expected. I don't want to be the pioneer. I'll let other people go first. And then when I have a need for it, I'll test it and use it. And if it's really beneficial, I'll make a video and show you guys how to do it at that time. That's why it's taking me this long to talk about AI chatbots. For the most part, I've sort of touched on it. And then I thought, where's a real world example that's nothing? Let me rephrase that. A lot of the examples are just entertainment. How about I show you a real world way to use AI where it's beneficial to the quality of your life and can solve problems for you or help guide you to your solutions fast, currently free. And if it's wrong, you just tell it that didn't work. And it'll correct, and it'll say, oh, my bad. Now that what happened? You say, well, here's what happened. It goes, oh, now I understand better. That's kind of your fault because you didn't explain the problem in enough detail. So don't get mad at the AI agent or the AI chatbot because you weren't specific enough. So now when it sees or it hears about the error that happened and you tell it what the error is or you show it a screenshot of it, then it goes, oh. Now if it were me as a human, I'd say, you didn't tell me that. Don't be mad at me. It doesn't do that. It apologizes. It apologizes that you left out critical information. I'm sorry, I see the problem. You've got this. Now, I've updated the steps accordingly. And repeat as necessary until you get to the answer on your time, your convenience, and as I mentioned, completely for free. How do I get my car to pair to my garage door opener? I've never been able to figure it out. I gave up. I just put a garage door opener in the center console and I push the button. So if I ask the chat agent here, I keep calling it an agent. If I ask the chatbot, I've got this make and model of car that has a built-in garage door opener. And I have a garage door opener that's this make and model. I can't seem to figure out how to get them connected. That's a real problem I have. But I found my own solution. I just bought a $10 garage door opener. a $10 garage door opener off eBay, paired it to the garage door, stuck it in the center console, problem solved. It's time for me to go back and revisit that because there's a button, I think, on the rear view mirror. It's been so long I don't even know what the button on the car is. Usually it's on the rear view mirror. And you push it and the garage door opener will, it'll open the garage. And I've paired a lot of cars to a lot of garage openers. I am not a newbie to this, but for some reason, These two would not pair, and I said it's not that important. After about 3 days of working on it, I gave up. Google searches, Reddit searches. I just was trying this, that, and the other. Nothing was working. So I said, screw it. I just bought a spare garage door opener for 10 bucks, programmed it, and threw it in the console. Not a big deal. Just when I pull in the driveway, I open the console, and it's sitting right there on top. I hit the button. It's not a big deal. But the fact that it's not working like it's supposed to, as intended, gets under my skin. So all these problems that you, like me, have found workarounds for, if you're in the mood for it, and just for fun, go into Gemini and tell it the situation. Follow its instructions, and you probably resolve that problem every single time, or know exactly what the problem is if there's something else you have to do or purchase to enable that. One way or another, you'll have your answer. It won't just be a mystery that you've accepted like I did and just live with it. Like, I've been living with so much, it's hard for me to even think about now. What could I use this for? What are some problems I can solve? And I think, well, I don't have any. I've solved them. Okay. There's got to be something I didn't solve. Oh, yeah, that garage door opener. I mean, I solved it, but I didn't really. You know what I mean? I want it to work as intended. It's the principle of the matter. And so maybe after the show, because it just occurred to me, I should go back at that and get that resolved, because now I should have clear instructions for that car and that garage door opener with step-by-step steps. And if it doesn't work, I'll tell it what happened, and it'll update the steps and tell me what to do next. You'll have to ask me in a follow-up video if I got around to it and if I fixed it. It's been like that for about 2 years, 3 years. That's what we do. We find a workaround. You don't have to find the workaround anymore. Potentially, you've got the instructions. You just have to ask. This includes how you use software on the computer, how you fix computer problems. It can't change a power supply for you, but it might point you to, knowing you need to do that, for example. Let's go full screen here on camera 1. There we go. Buster's saying good night. Hey, Buster, have a good evening, my friend. Sleep well. Andy says AI has intrigued him so much he now has a local large language model. I don't even do that, but have fun with it. Old Man Timer says, how fast does your mini PC need to be to run a chatbot on its own using Ollama? Try running an 8 to 35 billion parameter model. So I'm not really interested in any of that, right? You guys, if you want to get into that really, I'm going to just, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but that really nerdy stuff, like somebody might watch Star Trek and say, hey, that was a neat episode. And someone else might say, all of the technical minutia and details and break it apart. I'm not that big of a fan. I just like to watch the show. I don't need to know that level. I've got other things I'm interested in, and I would rather, me personally, spread around my time a little bit more than dedicate so much time to one thing. But we're all built that way, right? We're all built to have any special interests. I'm not built to install my own LLM and try these different models and token maxing and all this other, what I think, to me, from my eyes, is nonsense. Somebody else that's making a living and making more money than me, they'll say, I don't know what I'm talking about. You're right, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm not interested. I encourage you to pursue what you're interested in. And I don't mind your asking me, but my response is, I don't have any interest in that. I mean, and I couldn't express to you how little of interest. I'm not sure there are words to tell you how much I don't care about running a large language model locally. It seems so pointless and nonsense for me and my values, and I've got more important things to do that earn me money. Now, if I can figure out a way that I can earn money with it, I'll change my attitude. But let Gemini or let Anthropic or let these big data centers do the work, because they've got a lot more power than you will ever have. But at the same time, your reason for doing it and my reason for doing it are two different things. Well, I would never discourage you from pursuing that on your own. I'm not interested in pursuing that. I'm getting what I need from Gemini. And by the way, YouTube is a platform that's grown so big now. There's already plenty of videos that demonstrate that. You'd be far better off asking those people, and they can give you knowledgeable answers and demonstrations with experience versus me learning it live. It doesn't make any sense. It'd be like talking to me about Linux or talking to me about, I don't know, something I don't know anything about or I have a vague understanding of. It's not what I do for a living. The point of this channel is to share with you my knowledge that I have or adjacent knowledge that I'm interested in. Your adjacent knowledge that's different from mine, I'm sure there are plenty of YouTube channels that will cover that for you, and you can find that content. That's all I'm saying. To each their own. And you're welcome to ask. It doesn't bother me. I'm just trying to share my perspective with you and my attitude on that. But what I don't know, I guess, ignorance is bliss. I've never run an LLM. I have no intention to run one. Maybe that day will come. Maybe it won't. But I don't feel any pressure to do it because no one else is doing it. Everybody's doing it. No reason for me to pile on. That's my thinking. Krish Lab says, how fast you can get information via AI is just mind-blowing. Imagine showing someone this 30 years ago. Imagine showing it 10 years ago. This is expanding and growing and evolving so quickly. The sooner you get on board, the better. Like, as soon as it's stable, I'm not one to jump on board of things until they've been sort of proven out. You gotta wait some time, at least a year. And these chatbots, they were pretty wonky at first. And when I say at first, we're only talking 2-3 years ago. They have improved so much, from suggesting putting rocks on pizza or using glue to make the cheese stringier. They don't do that anymore. Andy says he agrees about interest, right? He doesn't care about movies. There you go. There's a perfect example. Somebody might be all about Spider-Man and someone else goes, who cares? That's the beauty of, here in the community, the idea is that we all share the common interest of Windows-based tech. So when somebody comes in here with Mac and Linux stuff, it's just sort of like bringing meat into a vegan buffet. It's pretty rude or ignorant. So, there's some common courtesy and respect there. But what we do share, I thoroughly love discussing and sharing with you, and certainly appreciate suggestions for items you're interested in. And if I'm also interested in it, I appreciate those, I have video ideas or subject matter. But if it's something obviously that's not of interest to me, don't be hurt or offended if I'm like, yeah, I don't do that. Not yet anyway. But I still appreciate the suggestion. I just want you to understand why. Jose Lopez joins us and says hello. Mark Gain says, AI helped me to fix the screen glitching issue with my Corsair IQ Link Titan all-in-one liquid cooler. Gary Tatum says, I have my Gemini app set for a female voice. It's almost like having a girlfriend that doesn't ask for money. Oh, just wait. I got a feeling it's going to ask for money. And once it starts, it won't stop. I'm scrolling through the chat to see if I missed any other questions. If I did miss a comment or a question, just repost it for me so I see it. Krish Labs is saying, just don't copy and paste AI output to respond to other people. You should proofread. I wouldn't just blindly copy things. One of the reasons I was copying the script so sort of quickly was because I've already done this before on other mini PCs, and it worked a lot better than it did in this live demo. But at the end of the day, we still got it figured out, and that's really what this was about. But as I mentioned, that main command, that AFU win command with all the switches, that's the thing we don't want AI to. We don't want AI to modify that. Everything else it can modify, I don't care. Just don't change that command, or it could not. It's possible. Flash the BIOS correctly, and then you have a machine that's bricked. Not that that's ever happened, but just something to keep an eye out for when you're beginning, before it earns your trust. It earned my trust on that because I'd already done it several times on other mini PCs. Even driver, like sometimes we download the drivers and I run the batch file and it opens and closes and it doesn't install the driver. Or sometimes they just give us INF files with no install file. And of course, I know to go in Device Manager and add that. I've shown you how to do that. But you could also say, hey, Gemini, would you make me a batch file to put these INFs in my Device Manager for me because the manufacturer didn't give it to me? That way, the next time I have an install bat I can use, here you go. You don't have to type the name of the files. Just take a picture of the folder with the files in it, upload it to Gemini, and go, that's what it looks like. How do I get that to install in my Device Manager in Windows 11? There you go. Test it, see if it works, put it away. But yeah, if somebody were to send me some PowerShell thing, right, that they just copied and pasted out of AI, and I ran it, it didn't work, I would just say to AI, my friend just sent me this PowerShell script that he wrote with AI, but it's not working. Can you fix it for me? Or would you fix it for me? Please fix it. Fix it for me now. You don't have to be polite. And it'll look at it, tell you what's wrong with it, give you the correction, and then you can check it. If it works, great. Email your friend back and go, here's your copy and pasted code I fixed for you. You're welcome. Be all angry at the 25 seconds you had to spend. At the rate of AI improving, imagine if it's this good today, just how much better it's going to be a year from now, or a year after that, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you're reading on social media, people are like, AI is terrible, blah, blah, blah. They're demonstrating they don't really understand it. It's very easy to not like something you don't understand. My mother was scared to death over electricity. What I mean by that is if there was anything that involved a circuit breaker or electrical wires in the wall of the house, like let's say, for example, my mother had an outlet, power outlet, and when you plug something in, it just falls out. I go, Mom, that's easy. You just change the outlet out. Oh no, I'm not touching it. I can just cut the breaker, plug a lamp into it. When the breaker cuts, the light will go out. So you know there's no power, and then do whatever you want. Touch it, do whatever you want, put it all back together. Just make sure you put it back together with the wires in the same places. Put it back in the wall. The outlet's like 70 cents. Go back out and turn the breaker back on. You're done. Nope. Nope. I can't see electricity. I don't trust it. I don't care if the lamp comes on. I am not doing that. She lived her whole life letting somebody else handle any electrical work. She was scared to death. The result is she had brought some people in, I think her brothers, to add a ceiling fan. This is the 1980s. To add a ceiling fan into the kitchen. And ceiling fans were pretty expensive. But there was nowhere to put a ceiling fan. So her brother's like, oh, we could do this. And they cut a hole in the drywall. They go up in the attic. And there's no electrical box to hold the weight of the ceiling fan. So what did they do? Nobody knows, because they were the ones in the attic. I was a kid. My mother just trusted them. So now, years later, after this is done, I want to change that ceiling fan out. And I take the ceiling fan down and I can see what they did. One, they violated electrical code. That's there for a very good reason, okay? But ignorance is bliss. Or they chose to ignore it. I'm going to assume it's just complete ignorance. In order to hold the weight of the ceiling fan, the wood that holds the drywall in place, I don't know, those are called trusses. I don't know what that's called. I could ask Gemini. But just, when you're in the attic, you step on every 16 inches, there's another beam. So what they did is they took another piece of wood to put it across the two beams. And you think, oh, that's kind of a smart idea. Maybe just nail that down and so it doesn't move around. No. They decided that the support structure of the ceiling didn't need to be held intact anymore. So if there's a piece of wood running across, front to back, along with, every 16 inches, every 18 inches, there's another one. They're just going to cut a square shape deep enough for that other piece of wood to sit into this. They're making a track. So half of the wooden structure integrity is gone now. So only, if it's a 2x4, only 2 inches of it now. They've cut away 2 inches of it. Just wide enough and deep enough that they can put the other board on top of two boards running this way. That board runs this way. They attach an electrical box to it. I guess they needed to get it low enough for the ceiling fan to hook into that. Then they cut the electrical wire, the internal attic wiring, the Romex cable. They bought some Romex, twisted the wires together, wrapped it in electrical tape. Job done. This hurts my head because they could have just went to the store and bought, there's a tool you can buy for this. And it's kind of like a shower curtain rod where it's springy and it loads for different wall lengths, right? And you can sort of twist it, turn it, and it expands two poles outward until they hit the walls. And then you tighten it up and it's not going anywhere. Like you couldn't hang off of it, but I mean, it'll hold a shower curtain. Well, they sell those, and they've sold them for years, where it's a metal bar with two flat ends that have spikes. And the idea is you set it between those wooden supports and you untwist it, much like a shower curtain rod, and the spikes bite into the wood on each side, and it already has an electrical box. Then you run your existing attic wire into that electrical box. You do your split right inside the electrical box. No electrical tape is needed or necessary, nor is any sawing. And that would be the cheap man's way to do it, right? That would be like the bare minimum. But at least you'd still be doing it correctly. But we didn't have this information available to us. We didn't know any better. And at the end of the day, there wasn't any consequence from doing that other than when it came time to change the ceiling fan 20 years, 30 years later, it's like, what the hell's going on here? How are we going to do this? And then do we bother to fix it or just, it's working, just leave it alone? You couldn't put that little bar in there anymore because they cut away the wood that the little spikes bite into. It's not there anymore. They permanently damaged it. You can't. You could put some steel braces on each side, but again, that bar is not going to bite into steel. You're screwed. Like, they screwed it. But hey, it was free help from her brother, so. And remember, these people were born in the 40s, and this was the 80s. Now we're into the 2020s, and my, oh my, the information availability and how to do things right, and videos to actually show you now. there's no excuse for this anymore. Back then, the excuse was you can hire a professional. But how do you know if the professional actually did a professional job when you don't go up in the attic and look at it, and you don't know one way from another? All you know is, did the ceiling fan fall down? Is it working? I guess they did it right. That was the measure by which a lot of that kind of work was done, was just you didn't know any better. Whether a professional did it or your uncle did it, the end result was the same. But years later, if there's a problem or you just want to upgrade, that's when you find, oh boy, your options are now limited and things weren't done correctly. And then what you thought it was going to cost you to upgrade it, if you want to make it right, you can add significantly to the cost. That's not how you do that, folks. And had there been a fire or had there been an electrical short up there, good luck finding it, because it's not an electrical box where all connections need to be. They have to be in a box. You just can't make connections willy-nilly and wrap it in electrical tape. That is not only hazardous, it is a diagnostic nightmare to locate it. So you're just setting yourself up, unless you're planning on leaving and letting it be somebody else's problem. But my mother lived in that house 40 years. So she wasn't planning on going nowhere. The only person she hurt was herself. And then when she passed and the house went on to it got sold, someone gutted the house. They tore all the drywall out. They changed the layout of the blueprint and probably fixed the electrical wiring. I mean, if they did all that work, when the drywall's not there, you can see it and you can easily change things out. I don't know. I just saw before and after pictures of what it looked like, and then when it was listed for sale after the renovations, they flipped the house, so they probably did things very cheaply if they're typical house flippers. But boy, it sure did look good. It had recessed lighting instead of fluorescent lighting hanging off the kitchen. There was a wall I always wanted to remove, and I guess it wasn't just me, because when I saw the pictures when the house was listed for sale, that wall was gone. I was like, whoa, good for them. Yeah. So even a cheap house flipper probably did better quality of work. There's Bajing Guy joining us and says hello. Andy's talking about the garage door opener built into the car. I bet it's a Genie garage door opener. LiftMaster. LiftMaster is the garage door opener. Pretty nice one too. So something with the car built-in garage door, it's not setting correctly. And I was using Google and Reddit to figure it out, and the car owner's manual. And usually for me, so I have programmed so many garage door openers, it's not funny. For me to struggle with it, very unusual. In 2013, I bought a new Ford Mustang, and I could not. First thing I did when I got the car home was I wanted to program the built-in garage door opener. It was a service they advertised as HomeLink. Okay, so I opened the owner's manual to the car, like I've done countless times before, and I want to pair it to a relatively inexpensive garage, like one of the cheapest garage door openers you could ever buy. And I've paired other cars to it, no problem. I could not get the Mustang paired to the garage door. After about 3 hours of trying, I'm like, this is a 5-minute, 6-minute job. And I was angry. Something's not right. So I started to use Google and say, it's a fairly new car, so at the time, I don't know how much information's out about it. But there was a Reddit thread talking about how Ford's manuals were written incorrectly for a certain model year that did not contain a HomeLink system. It contained a car to, the number 2, and the letter U, car to U system. And if you look at the diagram, because there are no actual pictures in the car manual, just like a highlight, an outline of what the unit buttons look like in the visor, they look alike. Just one has LEDs above each button and one doesn't. As far as I can tell, they're otherwise identical. And somebody pointed this out in Reddit. They said, if you have the LEDs over each button, you don't have a HomeLink system. You've got a card-to-use system. So then I looked up the instructions on how to program, instead of HomeLink to my garage door opener, how do I program card-to-you to my garage door opener? And 4 minutes later, it was working. So then I decided the next day I'm going to call Ford Motor Company. I just bought this $32,000 car, a model of car that's been out since 1964. Okay. Are you new here? And I talked to customer service, and I said, I was thinking about what my approach would be. I don't want to just chew them out. I want to communicate effectively without showing any emotion. Just Mr. Spock, this whole thing, right? You know, Ford Motor Company, how can I help you? I said, do you have the ability to pull up a 2013 Ford Mustang owner's manual on your computer? And she says, yeah. I said, would you do that and go to page 113? Sure. Like, she doesn't know why I'm asking this yet. I said, can you tell me, you know, let me know when you're there. I know it's going to take you a minute. And okay. I said, what does the top of the page say? She goes, it says programming your HomeLink garage door opener. Okay. Now, do you have the specifications of a 23 Ford Mustang that you can look at? And she says, yeah. I said, can you tell me what garage door opener system is in a 2013 Ford Mustang? Okay. And then there's a pause, and then she goes, oh, it looks like you found an error in our manual. That's a card-to-you system, not a HomeLink system. I didn't tell her, she told me. That's the key. You start telling people stuff, they push back. But if you ask questions, the right questions like an attorney does in a courtroom, they indict themselves, okay? So I said, yeah, that's why I spent 3 days trying to program this garage door opener in frustration. Will you be sending out a manual to me to replace the broken manual? That's not right. She goes, no, we don't do that. So what am I supposed to do the next time I have to program this garage door opener, or the car gets sold to somebody? She goes, I'll send you the PDF file that's like 3 pages, and you can print that out, fold it up, and stick it in your owner's manual. $32,000 car, and I'm going to print something out and keep it in the glove box for myself for future reference or the next owner. Appreciate your help. These days, I could just go to Gemini, and this whole thing would have happened so much faster. Isn't that crazy? How long have you been making the Ford Mustang? 60 years? Is this a new model? No one proofreads the manuals at Ford? Just copy and paste it? How does this happen? Nobody knows. Somebody knows and they ain't talking. Bajan guy said he's currently updating the DSM on his Synology NAS. Yeah, they came out with an update yesterday. And coincidentally, we updated ours today as well. Now, if you just let it sit, it'll update itself. I needed to get into the NAS for something. And as a habit, I always go to the control panel and hit the update restore just to check, because I don't trust automation. It only takes a second. And it came back and said, there's a new version. I said, well, download it and install it. I didn't even know. But apparently it came out yesterday. But again, if I didn't know, and assuming the automation would have worked, it would have just installed on its own. I just didn't want to wait. I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to mention that today and I forgot, so thank you for that. David Graham said he had to replace half of the outside walls of his house because his dad had 3 wood-burning stoves and the pipe hole rotted the walls from rain over the years. My dad's an old-school hillbilly who can't read. Here, you get her done. You know what I mean? I appreciate the era of and the culture of your dad's time. But there's no excuse for us to be living like that anymore. So when I hear people say, I don't like AI, I'm hearing a witch from the 1800s saying she doesn't like modern medicine. Don't trust it. Stay away from that modern medicine. Let me just cast you a spell. And they're willing to die. They believe it so strong that they're not interested in any scientific data. They're interested in their witchcraft, and that's their choice. So when I hear somebody like that, I dismiss any value to what they have to say. I'm like, well, you clearly don't know what you're talking about. When people talk about, there's a jet airliner leaving contrails because of how the atmosphere works, and they have no college education, and they go, those are chemtrails, and they're changing the weather. Yeah, that's what's happening, all right. You have a nice day and just walk away. Don't try to reason with them. Let them believe it. Yeah, that's what's happening. Sure. By the way, if you really, really want to know what's happening, go to college. Learn how the atmosphere works. Learn and understand condensation and why it rains. If you're really that passionate about it. I had a friend tell me that there's no way SpaceX is landing those rockets. That's all fake. You can't land a rocket upright. And I said, well, there's plenty of people that go to Florida or Texas or California, and they watch those rockets land upright. They've got it. You go to YouTube, people are filming it with their phones. How do you explain that? Have you thought maybe you should get in the car and go see it? Because what would be the point of faking that? Like, what's in it for them to fake it? I don't understand. What difference does it make in your life if you're right and they are faking it? How does that change your rent being due on the first of the month? What a weird conspiracy theory. And by the way, if it really bothers you, why don't you get in the car, drive out to the next launch, bring your binoculars, and explain to me what you just saw, along with hundreds of other people there. Every time they launch, people are there to watch it. What did you just see? And that's the end of the conversation. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, you know, you don't want to look at reality, that you don't have to. I don't care. But if you want to spout nonsense, I'm going to call you out on nonsense and say, go see for yourself, or maybe get an aerospace degree if you don't understand how things work. It's witchcraft. Modern medicine, stay away from that. AI, you better stay away from it. It's the same thing. It's just bad human behavior, and don't waste your time. In my opinion, once somebody's established themselves like that, let them be. They're only hurting themselves, they're not hurting anyone else. You're only going to get frustrated. Don't try and be reasonable with an unreasonable person. That's an unreasonable thing for you to try to attempt. Just say, okay, good to know. Just nod your head and smile. Trust me, you will both be happier. David Graham said the secret to happiness is to never argue with stupid people. Well, there is. I mean, it's funny, right? Don't argue with stupid people. But if somebody genuinely is willing to learn, and they're like, listen, I know this is true, and unless you can prove otherwise, I'm going to dig my heels in the ground. Well, okay, let me prove it otherwise. That's a conversation worth having. But if somebody's mind is made up, you're not going to change it. All these political postings and stuff you see on social media aren't changing anybody's minds. Very few. And people lose their jobs over it. People get stalked over things they post on social media. Who cares what somebody thinks about politics? I don't care. I really honestly could care less. So unless you're somebody I look up to, I respect and admire, your thoughts and your opinions, if I don't know you, they have no value to me at all. It's just nothing. It might as well be a dog barking, a neighbor's dog. It's just annoying. And I try and tune it out. You know, noise canceling headphones can be very useful. Sometimes it's better to just walk away and ignore rather than engage. But if somebody wants to engage sincerely, then we all benefit, right? If somebody maybe just shares a different perspective and there is no truth, if it's the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, you're sort of arguing about the same thing from two different perspectives. That's, nothing to get upset about. Just go, okay, they choose to see it from this angle and I choose to see it from that angle over here. The Earth is flat. Yeah, from your angle, it sort of looks flat, but how does a lunar eclipse work? I don't know. The whole thing just, it doesn't make any sense. And if somebody can't see the logic, that's just not the way their brain works, and you just let them be. If that's what they want to believe, who cares? Let them. Have fun with that. Maybe we don't share much in common, so we don't need to talk anymore. But I'm not going to fight you and try and wrestle you into intelligence. That's exhausting and usually results in zero. Anything other than the end result is you're angry and your emotional state will change. But you're voluntarily participating. Man, don't voluntarily participate anymore. Choose better. Walk away. Nod and smile. Okay, the Earth is a big place. There's room for all of us. You go do what you want, and I'll respect your choices. I'll go do what I want, and I would appreciate the same consideration in return. And we'll all get along just fine. You go find some friends that think like you do. I'll go find some friends that think like I do. We all get along. Andy says, I won't argue with anyone. I will discuss things. Yeah, I often, my intent is to discuss things, but sometimes people get angry. And at that point, it's like, hey, I'm just expressing my perspective. I explain it. But once they're angry, there's like nothing you can do. Like, why are you getting angry? You told me your opinion, and I told you my opinion, and now you're mad at me because you think by me sharing my opinion, you're somehow hearing me say you're stupid. I didn't say you're stupid. I just said, I hear your perspective. This is my perspective. In the hopes that you might consider my perspective being a valid one, worth consideration, without saying you're wrong. And you could disagree and say, no, your opinion isn't worth consideration. Okay, well then neither is yours. Right? I'm going to return back to you what you're giving. If you want me to seriously listen to your opinion and I don't agree with it, when it's my turn, I'm going to share my opinion just to share. Here's the same reason you shared yours. But sometimes the reasons sometimes people share their opinions is they're looking for you to agree with them and join their little religion, whatever that happens to be. A political religion. It's a tribal thing, and I'm not interested in being a part of a tribe. I'm sort of a loner. I don't want to follow a group of people. If they can follow me, I don't care. They can not follow me, I don't care. They can agree with me, that doesn't mean I'm right. They could disagree with me, that doesn't mean I'm wrong. They're welcome to do whatever they want, but to get upset over it's just stupid. Like, that is stupid. Because I don't agree with you, you're angry at me? Because I don't agree with you, you think I'm calling you stupid? Not at all. No, you shared your perspective, I'm sharing my perspective. If you want to dismiss and disrespect my perspective, then I'm going to dismiss and disrespect your perspective. You get what you give. Unless you're someone in power or you have authority, know your place. And my participation in that is voluntary, just as yours is. Don't take the bait. You'll be a lot happier. Frankie B says, can't we all just get along? It's a choice, Frankie. See, I could choose to get along, but if you don't, what else can I do? I've tried. It's just like a relationship. If somebody wants to be in a relationship, but the other person doesn't want to be in the relationship anymore, for any reason. Doesn't matter that you didn't do anything wrong. They just don't want it anymore. Well, too bad. If both people don't want that relationship to work, it ain't going to work. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter how badly invaluable one person sees the relationship. The other person has to see it too. And if they have a problem and they both want to work it out, they will work it out every single time. But if one of them doesn't want to work it out, it's done. Fair, unfair, irrelevant. Nothing more you can do. It's almost like getting a disease that you didn't deserve to get. You got to deal with it. It is what it is, and accept it. Move on. In my experience in life so far, it has always led to better things. Things happen for a reason, let's just say, that opportunities existed that wouldn't have existed otherwise, that I am better off and almost owe those people a thank you in order to force me to do something I didn't want to do, which was to make my life better. That's just a perspective, and you can choose to see it that way if you choose to, right? It's a choice. Dance6947 says, do I have any stories about AI hallucinating? I don't personally. I've read them online, but I don't use AI very much. Like I said, I'll use it for troubleshooting things. Sometimes I can't remember. I was helping a gentleman find a setting in his BIOS, and I don't know where is the CSM settings in an ASRock B650M Lightning Wi-Fi. They're not on the same place. Sometimes it's in this submenu, sometimes it's over here, sometimes it's even removed. So I had the gentleman on the phone, and I just pulled up Gemini while we were talking. And he's not a computer guy. He doesn't understand a BIOS. I have to guide him. I asked him if he could send me a picture of the screen. He doesn't know how to do that. Okay, how could I do this? I pulled up Gemini and I said, ASRock, B650M Lightning Wi-Fi, where to find CSM settings. And it said, should be here, here, and here. And I said, click on that. You see, yeah, do you click on that? Yeah. He goes, oh, you found it. Yeah, sure, I did that. Okay. Pat myself on the back. I can't remember. If I had the machine in front of me, I'd figure it out real quick. But trying to visualize it in my head, when rarely are two machines the same that I see, I don't remember where it is. I know it's in there somewhere. And when you're dealing with a customer who's not very tech savvy and they're not normally in a BIOS, they're not much help. And if they can't send me pictures because they don't even know how to do that, okay, the bottom line is my use of Gemini is maybe once or twice a day right now. I expect that will continue to get more and more. I'll start relying on it more and more. And I will start forgetting things that I used to make an effort to remember because I don't have to remember it anymore. When I was going to school, in elementary school in the 1970s, I was 10 years old, and someone asked the teacher if we could use a calculator for our math test, and the teacher said no. And they said, well, actually, no, the teacher said you can, as long as you show your work to show that you know how to solve the problem. And then you want to double check it with the calculator, that's fine. But why? Why do we need to show our work? The calculator does the work. What do we care? Because when you get older, there may not always be a calculator around. I'm sure I'm not the only one that heard that growing up. Now, kids today quite often cannot read an analog clock that has hands on it. They don't know how. They can't read or write cursive writing. They can't do basic math. Many people, you ask somebody, what's 550 divided by 2? And without a calculator, without using their phones, just in their head, they either say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Why not? Very basic, simple math. 550 divided by 2. And the most common answer people give is 225. Okay? So tell me, what's 225 plus 225? Now that most people can do. Oh, that's 450. Okay. So then what is 550 divided by 2? Just standing there on the street, unprepared, no phone, no computer, just use your human brain. Sometimes they walk away. I don't know. Now they feel embarrassed and they don't want to play anymore. And I'm talking government officials, okay? Not just people on the street. That scares me. That scares me. And then, you know, when somebody gives you the answer right away, good. All right. It's a nice litmus test of who you're talking to. Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Very simple. It's not made or intended to make anyone feel stupid. But how they choose to feel about it says more about them than it says about you. And then moving forward based on the resolution or the consequence of that, how that's answered and handled, tells you a lot about the person you're talking to. So when you're dealing with somebody, particularly in a state of authority, who claims, you know, I'm in charge, it's like, well, if you're in charge, can you tell me what 550 divided by 2 is? And it diffuses them. It makes them feel, it's not intended to, but they can make themselves feel small because they can't answer basic math. Well, I'm not good at math. Oh, but you're in charge. Okay. I wonder what else you're not good at. Maybe is there somebody else I can talk to? Would you join us on a quest for the Holy Grail? No, we've already got one. Is there someone else we can talk to? No. Human behavior is endless entertainment. Just don't take it too seriously. Don't get yourself, like when you recognize it, do the right thing and walk away. Save yourself. You can't save them. You can save yourself if you choose to. Sam Lazar says, hello from Melbourne, Australia. I cannot read an analog clock. They gave up in school after 3 years and I never learned. That's interesting because, you know, out of curiosity, and I'm assuming if you're being sincere, Sam, if you cared and you wanted to know, we could go back over to this machine and we can ask Gemini, can you teach me how to read an analog clock? Scroll down. Is it too far? There. It's. Oh, I didn't submit it. Here we go. Now I'll scroll down. Something went wrong, it says. Oh, I guess I've asked questions without logging in. Of course, the other thing is using YouTube, right? There are plenty of classes and free instructional videos that will show you, and it's much easier than a lot of people think. People that don't know things and feel intimidated by them, once they realize how simple it is, then they feel silly. But there's oftentimes a mental block where you're like, oh, I'm never going to learn it. You've convinced yourself. None of us were born knowing, right? We were all taught at certain various levels of our lives. So if we went to YouTube here and said how to read analog clock, I'll bet you there are instructional videos, and I bet you wouldn't need 5 minutes and you would know it for the rest of your life. Now this one is how to read a clock for children. Look, you're watching your videos. No one needs to know you watched a video for children. I was much older than other kids in school before I learned to tie my own shoes, and I just tried to hide that. But this video is how long? In 6.5 minutes, you will know how to read a clock for the rest of your life. If you choose to. Like, if you're not interested, you're not interested, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with saying I don't care. That's fine. But anything you want to know now is right here. We did not have this in the 1980s or the 1970s, or really even in the 1990s. So to not know something that you feel like you should know, it's now on you to go and pursue that. For us to pursue it back in the day would have required a bit more dedication and commitment. Today, it's like, I could watch the latest episode of Reacher, or you know what? Maybe I'll just learn something today until I'm bored. I have a short attention span. That's a 6.5-minute video, so let's see. Let's just try it and see. And you might just find you love it, or you might say, this is terrible. I'm going to go watch Reacher. And then give it another shot another day with another video that maybe strikes. You know, learning is very much mood affected. When training an animal like a dog, you don't want to spend more than about 10 minutes per day. Dog's going to get really frustrated. You're not compacting down all the training really quickly in one day. It's not going to work. You need to sort of be patient, start slow, limit the amount of time that you're spending, no more than 10 minutes, and then keep repeating it. And the animal will learn through the repetition. What I found interesting with my German Shepherd, Jake, from years ago, is he was watching me do things I wasn't teaching him. I didn't realize I had patterns. I didn't think about it. I just had routines. And he was watching these routines day after day after day, the same routines, the same routines. And he knew stuff I never taught him. He was just paying attention. Sometimes when you're training a dog, the dog's doing that, and you're like, hey, try to show you something. That is frustrating. The dog is not interested. That's tough. If you can convince the dog to make eye contact with you, sometimes having a treat helps. Ah, you see me now? Give me your paw. No idea what you mean. Don't speak English. Grab the paw gently. The dog's probably going to look like, why are you touching me? Hold it gently. Give it the treat. Good boy. Good boy. Do that a couple times. 1, you don't want the dog to get sick on treats. 2, you don't want to frustrate the dog, so you don't want to do it more than 10 minutes. Tomorrow, doesn't have to be at the same time, but don't spend more than 10 minutes. Don't try to train it multiple things. One thing at a time. Give me your paw. Nothing. Pay attention. See the treat? See me? Okay, see the treat? And just take the paw, hold it, give him the treat. Good boy, let it go. By day 3 or day 4, you show him the treat. Here's my paw. Great. Now let's work on lay down. Let's work on, and that's how it works. It's through repetition and small amounts of time. It's not like, hey, I'm going to sit down today and learn how to play the piano like Mozart. It ain't going to happen in a day. But if you're not interested in learning how to play the piano, well, it ain't going to happen, right? You have to be willing and interested. Believe in yourself. Prove it to yourself you can do it. If it matters to you, you do it for your own fulfillment. You don't do that for anybody else. Dan said, my cat learned the best chance to dart out the door is to put my shoes on, or after I put my shoes on. Yeah. I put my shoes on and the dog learned that means we're going for a walk. I couldn't put my shoes on without having to take the dog for a walk. Just putting on my shoes, the dog's all excited, tail's wagging and jumping. Let's go, let's go. Just putting shoes on. No, we're going for a walk. Sometimes we're training the animals and don't even realize we're doing it. I'll tell you the great thing about having this stray cat. She can go outside whenever she wants. You don't have to worry about letting her out. She's an outdoor stray cat. She's lived in the tough life, finding shelter and food every single day while constantly shielding herself from dangers. So you bring her into the house and she's like, what's this weird place? And realizes, hey, it's warm, it's safe, it's comfortable, I can relax. You want to go back outside? Not interested. I will say that. Also, stray dogs. Stray dogs, I don't know, there's a... When I was growing up, if the door opened, the dog would try and dart out, and then she'd be gone. And she'd eventually come home. That was in the 70s. But I found when recovering stray dogs in particular, they don't want to leave. You'll open the door, they might run out, but they don't go too far. And you call them and they come right back. But I always thought as a kid, you know, I wonder how people get dogs to do that. My dog just wanted to dart anytime the door was open, and she would take off, sometimes 2-3 days before she'd come back. She was quick. Nobody could catch her. But I was a kid. What did I know? And in my experience, the animals that have had to struggle, and it's true for people, when people have had to struggle and then you show them or give them something, they appreciate it so much more. And it just feels better. Like it feels more rewarding to give and to help when people show a genuine sense of appreciation in return and nothing more. And I could live off of that feeling. It feels good. I've been on the other side of that where friends have helped me out when I needed it. And I have this sense of like, I owe them, you know, now that I'm older in life and doing better. Those days when I didn't have the quarters to play the arcade and a friend of mine would share his quarters with me, that meant the world to me. Gary Tatum said, I'm so old, when I was in school, we had to learn how to use a sundial. Andy said, most dogs feel most comfortable with consistency. They also like having a job, having a purpose. A dog without a purpose is usually a bitey, nasty little thing. But if that dog has learned tricks for treats, praised for going outside to use the toilet outside, they love that sense of approval. Most dogs crave it. If they don't crave the approval, they crave the treat. One of the two. Jake was the first dog I ever had that really cared more about the approval than he cared about the food. So one of the things I would do is I would offer him a dog biscuit, usually twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, after dinner, after his food. And he learned I kept his food in a big bin, this big 25-pound bin or whatever it was, 40-pound bin. Well, Jake figured out he didn't want to wait for me to feed him, so he could pull the door open to the bin and eat whenever he felt like it. I've never seen a dog do this. And I had this other dog at the time, and Jake would grab a mouthful of food out of the bin. I've seen him do this. He'd take it into the other room where the other dog was and spit it out on the floor and then go walk back to the bin. He was leaving it for the other dog. And he never got fat. He never overate. He self-fed. I didn't teach him that. I kept an eye on it and he wasn't overeating. Then when he was done eating, he'd go over to the cabinet where I kept the treats and stand in front of it and look at me. And he'd nudge at it with his nose, trying to... These were really long cabinet doors that went basically floor to ceiling. And they opened in the middle, and he'd push on it with his nose and try and get in the gap and swing it open. He didn't scratch anything up. He didn't damage anything. I never taught him that. So I go in the kitchen, and there he is sitting by those cabinet doors, nudging at him. Oh, he wants a cookie. Open the drawer, grab a biscuit, hand it to him. He'd take it and go away. And he didn't bother me for another one. He was good. He knew not till the evening. So he didn't gorge. He didn't just, someone's going to take my food. He didn't care if somebody else ate out of his bowl. He wouldn't growl if he was you giving him a steak bone and you, hey, give me that steak bone back. A dog would bite your hand off. Not Jake. He was like, oh, you want that back? Okay. He didn't care. Very easygoing. So part of it's the dog, part of it's the owner. Part of it is the owner training the dog. Part of it's the dog training the owner. And when all that goes and balances and interweaves together, It's an amazing human-animal relationship that is beyond words. It has to be, because there are no words. Andy says his Great Pyrenees has him well trained. I bet. Morton says when I pick up the leash, Hugo starts jumping up and down. Oh yeah, they know that leash, don't they? They know what that means. Margain says his dog Jack will do anything for his favorite toy. Yeah, toys, treats, praise. Cats, not so much. John Gallagher said, when I updated my Windows 11 media, I put a file saved as ei.cfg so I can get all the versions like Home and Pro and the rest. Yes, well, what Sean's talking about is when you go to install Windows 11 and you have a product key built into the computer. And let's say, I'll give you an example. My Samsung Galaxy Book 3 came pre-installed from Samsung with Windows 11 Home. If I do a reinstall of Windows using the media installation tool that I show you guys how to make, it notices that key is for Home and it doesn't ask me what version I want. And I've pointed this out on other machines. This one has a Windows 11 Pro key. If that key is built into the BIOS, then when I go to reinstall Windows off of that media installation, it'll automatically select Pro and not even ask me. I have no problem with that. But sometimes people say, well, gee, Carey, I really want Pro, but every time I install Windows, it installs Home, and then I have to upgrade from Home to Pro. And my answer to them is, why don't you just make an image backup when you're done upgrading from Home to Pro and stop reinstalling Windows? Like, why are you repeating the same? Why are you doing this the hard way? Just restore your image. It's way faster, and you can bypass all that. Well, what if I make a file and override that on the media flash drive? You can, but then I'm questioning why you'd want to do that. It doesn't. You absolutely can do that. I wouldn't do it that way, me personally. But you absolutely can say to the Windows installer, don't pay attention to what's in the BIOS. Let me choose it. But that seems like you're doing everything the hard way, from my opinion. I do not do that. But that's just me, right? And then you're just you. You do you. That's fine. The reasons why I never show that on this channel is because if it's not, I would not show you how to do something I wouldn't do myself. I wouldn't serve you food I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't recommend you go somewhere I've never been. I feel like trust is really important here, more so than views. And if I have a different approach to that, I'm going to show you my approach. If you have a different approach to it, maybe you might want to start a YouTube channel and show people your approach. You don't need my approval for it. You don't need to tell me, you know, here. I mean, it's fine. You're welcome to share your approach with us, but understand there's a reason why I don't recommend it and I don't use it. For myself and my business, there's no exceptions. I can't make sense of that in the way that I think and the way that I process data and the way that I solve problems. That to me is going backwards, but you can do that if you want to. And if you say, well, I disagree, I think it's going forwards, I mean, yeah, go right ahead. I do whatever you want, right? I'm not here to talk about what you're doing. I'm here to talk about what I'm doing. But I don't mind you want to share it. I mean, it's fine. Slavko says, is my internet dying? What do you mean? And once again, if you're like, well, wait a minute, Carey, slow down. That sounds like something I'd want to do, what Sean Gallagher mentioned. We'll just go to Gemini and say, how do I configure my my Windows 11 media installer to always allow me to choose the version of Windows, and it's no secret. And he said, I used the media installation tool yesterday on a Mini that'll go out to the original Sun City, out your way, Carey tomorrow. So let me see if I can piece this together. You know somebody who lives in Sun City, Arizona. I'm guessing they did not send you a laptop, because as far as I know, or a mini PC. You have a mini PC, you have many of them, and you are prepping it to send to somebody you know. So you use the media creation tool to reset it. You're going to box it up and you're going to ship it to a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. Am I understanding what you just said? Frankie says, did you ever get in touch with the guy from California when you have to update his other PC? Thank you for asking, Frankie. Purely by coincidence, he reached out. And he said, my computer that you built for me in January isn't booting anymore. He said, I tried to make a backup image, and then after I made the backup, I tried to boot from it, so I changed the boot order in the BIOS, and now the system won't boot anymore. And I said, well, backup images aren't bootable, and even if it was, you'd need USB drivers. You can't just do that. And then he said, well, I have a rescue disk. Oh, you had a rescue disk. Yeah, it's on a CD, but you have to bang on the CD drawer to get it to open. I didn't ship it that way, but that's interesting. Boy, I wish I could send you a KVM, you know. Oh yeah, I saw your videos with the KVM. I bought one. I don't know how to use it. Oh, well, if you've got it, you want to plug it in, and I can look at your computer. He said, I don't know if I can find it. I said, okay. Anyway, he finds it, and I go, okay, so in the box, it's got 3 cables. Now, I just have an HDMI cable. What do you call it? The cable. He's trying to describe the way it looks. Could you send a picture of it to me? I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to message people or stuff like that. Okay. And we try this, we try this, we try that. So the BIOS does see the Beijing drive, but on the boot options, nothing's bootable. I said, it looks like you accidentally erased your drive. I don't know what you did. He goes, listen, I got time, I got money. How about I just send it back to you, you take care of it. I said, I don't mind. I just thought it'd be kind of silly to spend all that time and effort if it's just a button, you know, that needs to be pressed, or a setting that needs to be changed from enabled to disabled. But since I can't see it, he goes, no, I don't care. I'll box it up and say, that's fine. I don't mind. Just trying to save you a little time and effort. I got plenty of time. Don't worry about it. Great. I said, you know what else you could do? Why don't you send your KVM to me, and I'll get the missing cables for you, and I'll configure it for remote access. I'll get it all set up on Tailscale, and I'll just put everything in a little Ziploc and put it back, you know, ship it with the computer. He goes, could I include my backup drive and you can check my backup for me? Maybe you can even restore the backup if I made it right and put it back. Sure. He said, okay, I'll send it to you. I'll send you the backup drive, and I'll send you what I have of the KVM. I said, great. When you get some tracking info, please send it to me. And that's where we're at. So hopefully I'll get some tracking info, and I'll have some content. I'll put it here on the bench, and we'll look at it together. No big deal. I feel bad that he's got to send it for something like that, but he doesn't feel bad about it. So, hey, send it. I don't mind. He's like, I'll pay you for everything. I'll pay you for the shipping. I'll pay you for your time. I'll pay you for, you know, don't worry about any of that. I know. I never doubted for a second it would be a problem, but appreciate that. So I was just happy to hear from him, because I hadn't heard from him pretty much since January. And he's like, yeah, so the computer I was going to send you to upgrade next, that's what I'm using now, my Windows 10 computer that you built 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I can't send it to you now. I need it. Okay, that's fine. I'm just happy to hear from him, right? Without hearing from somebody for such a long time, I just don't, am I supposed to keep holding on to your parts, or should I do something else with your parts? Are they still your parts, or did you abandon them? And yeah, it turns out he just hadn't gotten around to it yet, I guess. It's not a priority for him. I just like to know what's the plan. You know, are you going to wait 8 months to reach out to me? That's okay as long as you tell me. He just left me hanging. So I was grateful to him. He's always a pleasure to talk to. He's a super nice guy. So that's where we're at. Now, the last time he told me he was going to send me his PC, it took him 6 weeks before he sent it. I'm not holding my breath, but I have no doubt he will send it. I hope sooner rather than later, but it is what it is, and there's nothing more I can do. I verified he's got the address and everything correct, and it's on him now to get it boxed up and sent out. Once I have it, I'll get to work on it right away. We'll make a video out of the diagnostic and repair. I'll get his KVM updated and configured, replace any missing cables, and we'll check his backup if need be. If there's actually, you know, if he did accidentally, in trying to test his backup, wipe his drive, I was just going to reinstall Windows and start over, but he wants me to see if I can recover his backup if that's the case. So if that's the case, then yeah, we'll see if he made a good backup and we'll recover it, if it's possible. And if not, I'll go right back to the original plan to just use my bootable media, install Windows 11, put the drivers back on, and just treat it like a new machine. Oh, Slavko said his internet isn't dying. It turns out his Starlink is just wanting to update. That could affect your internet. Okay. So yeah, Frankie, that's what went on with that gentleman. And again, it was something I was going to talk about today, and I completely forgot until you mentioned it. Coming up on Friday, we just today received I know this is crazy, Minis Forum has yet again introduced another model of PC. I think they've introduced 3 new PCs in the last 2 weeks. I'm all for it, don't get me wrong. Nobody else is doing this in the industry. They've all sort of slowed way down. So we're not seeing as much new technological innovation or options being introduced to the market right now for anything, from storage related items, RAM related, which is pretty much everything, computers, mini PCs, networking. It's all just sort of flatlined. But Minis Forum, they're just chugging away like it's any other day. So we have one of their more budget level, but a modern budget, right? And we're not talking Celeron N95 or anything like that. This is actually a pretty decent Core 3 with a small NPU that can do AI. It's really more marketing than anything. And it's really inexpensive. I mean, for what things cost today, comparatively, it's actually quite impressive for what you're going to get for the money. So we're going to show that off on Friday. Now, purely by coincidence, I guess Intel must have just released this chip. Their competitor Camrui has almost the same configuration. Well, at least it's based on the same exact chip. And they said, would you review it? And I said, absolutely. That has not arrived yet. But if it arrives between now and Sunday, guess what's going to be on Sunday's show? And then these may require second part, because the reviews take so long. So I would anticipate a part 1 on Friday of the Minis Forum with a part 2 on the next Friday of the same Minis Forum. Has been pattern lately. Try and squeeze out all the content we can get out of it, since we're rationing everything right now. And then if Camrui arrives on between now and Sunday, we'll do that one, and then part 2 the following Sunday. But we may not get that till next week. I just don't know. We're also expecting those KVMs to show up probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. When they show up, that's the only thing holding us back from making the content. It may be time for me to start digging through the older machines and seeing how they're holding up over the years. Although they're sitting in boxes. I wouldn't be surprised if this needed a BIOS battery. I don't think it does. I completely forgot I had this. I'm like, this is amazing. I love this as much today as the day I opened the box and saw it for the first time. And I'm so disappointed that this just didn't catch on with buyers. I just think it's a really cool design. I love that little fan down there. I don't know if the lighting can see through that screen. It's completely see-through. It's a screen. And on both sides, by the way, although there's really just the back of the board here. I don't know what it is. I love the number of ports it has. It's dead silent. It's a high-end CPU, by the way. It's 12900, which is no slouch, even by today's means. I love it's got 2 HDMI ports instead of 1 display port. I don't have any monitors with display port. I love it's got USB Type-C on it. And the way it looks, that's like a Camaro all day long as far of computers, like a Trans Am of computers. I love it. I'm so upset at myself that I forgot I had it. And the only reason I found it is I wanted to demonstrate how you could use a chat bot to fix bad code. And you don't have to know anything about code. You could have never coded in your life. You could even code for the first time in your life now, and it'll create the code for you. Just tell it what you're trying to do. I got a bunch of pictures, and they're all labeled with the, XYZ 1234, XYZ 1235, XYZ 1236. I want to relabel or rename all of these files as Yellowstone 1, Yellowstone 2, and I don't want to do each one. And I can't just do a copy and paste or they'll all have the same name. So can you make me a batch file that'll take all these files and rename them sequentially with this name in this directory? So just copy this into your notepad, save it as a batch file, double click it in, copy the batch file in the directory that these files are in. Double click it, and it goes, all done. 200 files renamed. Holy cow! You may never need that batch file again. Now, if it takes you longer to ask ChatGPT to create the batch file than it does for you to just manually rename it, well, you can make that judgment call if it's worth your time. But things you would use Excel for calculating, it'll do the calculating for you. It's really learning how to use it. It's a tool. And that tool can do amazing work behind the hands of a skilled craftsman. But you don't start as a skilled craftsman. Nobody starts there. You start, period. You need to start. If you like it and you keep using it, you will naturally grow and expand and evolve your skill set. And you'll be as enthusiastic as I am to say, why aren't you using this? It's so easy. But you have to work your way to that. And it starts with little experiments and successes. And it'll likely fuel you to take it to the next level. It's like somebody's a shoplifter and they steal a pack of gum and they get away with it. That was easy. And slowly but surely they become a kleptomaniac and they steal things that are bigger, riskier, and worth more money until they get caught and go to jail. Normally, a shoplifter doesn't try and shoplift anything big and bold on their first try. It's through taking something pretty minor and getting away with it. Well, in much the same way, that's learning. So by using Gemini to help, or it doesn't have to be Gemini, by the way, just what I use, to use those to help you solve everyday problems. This could fix problems where I'm getting into an argument with somebody They're saying this and I'm saying this and we're not going anywhere. What can I do? Let Gemini give you some suggestions on how to communicate better. I got a door that doesn't close right. How can I fix it? There's a door, every time I try and close it, it gets stuck in the door jamb. Like I can't, it scrapes. How do I fix that? Would you like to see a video? Here you go. I have this thing. You take a picture of it. Tell me what it is. Here's what it is. How do I disassemble it? Here's the video or instructions. Here are the tools you're going to need. Holy cow. All you have to do is start using it for anything that you can think of. I'll tell you what, after this video, I'm going to go program that garage door opener. Ask me on Friday if I was successful. I'll bet you, once I tell the make and model of the car and the make and model of the garage door opener, in fact, I could probably just take a picture of the garage door opener. It'll probably give me step-by-step instructions, every single detail. And then I'll bet you I have that thing programmed in like less than 10 minutes, just between walking inside. In fact, you can just do it right on your phone, so I don't have to print out the steps. I can just go, you know, I only need the steps once. And it'll save the conversation as long as I don't delete it. If I ever, a year from now, let's say, go, how did I do that? I lost my programming, I had to change the car battery. Or I reset the garage door or whatever, replaced it. How did I do that? I don't remember. I could just ask again, or I can just look at do a search through my past conversations and say, look for the word garage door, and then the conversation. Within seconds, that conversation from last year will pop up. Sam Altman of OpenAI said, we want to create a world where every conversation you've ever had, every picture you've ever taken is all recorded forever. And I think, oh, no, don't do that. That's what computers do. He's trying to turn, like the way I hear it, he's trying to turn people into computers. Isn't that going to be great when you can be more like a computer? No. No, it'll be great when you can make people more human. I don't need every conversation I've ever had recorded. I don't need to be wearing glasses that everything I've ever seen is always going to be there forever. Some moments are special to a human being because the experience, not the recorded experience. And if I screw up and I make a mistake, I don't need to be constantly reminded about that for the rest of my life. I screwed up. I've learned. Can we let it go? Or do you want to keep using it against me and reminding me? Remember when you used to wear diapers when you were 6 months old? Thank you. That's very useful. Do you have any photos and videos you can show me? I don't know what Sam Altman is thinking, but I completely disagree that we should be recording everything as if we were computers. Sometimes, in my opinion, what it means to be human is you have a unique experience that you may not be able to explain. You may not be able to prove it, but you know. And I don't think a computer will ever replace that. In trying to, I think, is a mistake. It's dehumanizing. So AI is great as a tool, just like 2 aspirin are good for a headache. But, you know, take the whole bottle of aspirin, you're probably going to be in the hospital or worse. Moderation in everything in life. And right now, AI doesn't know moderation. AI is more. Eventually, they're going to run out of money. But boy, that scares me to hear Sam Altman talk like that. It's, ooh. I feel like Dario over at Anthropic, I think, has a better handle on attitude. Elon with XAI, he's not quite as extreme as Sam Altman, but still kind of on the extreme side. So hopefully this will all wash out in the end and it'll right itself. But listening to these captains steer their ships into the storm, I don't think it's a good idea. Hopefully they'll get steered away from their intents, but I will see how it plays out. But yeah, that having everything you ever see or do or say recorded for life, I don't see that as a good thing. Mike's Unboxing says it's late over here in England, just checking in before bed. Hey, there's Mike's Unboxing. Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To is a YouTube channel, very similar to us. Not in a bad way, in a very good way. In fact, in a better way. And a super guy, him and Kath work together on the YouTube channel to show computer builds, talk to the audience, interact with their viewers. If you like my content and you're not watching Mike's reviews and unboxing, check it out because I think you're really going to like it. Super guy, very knowledgeable, and very easygoing. Not like me. He's easygoing. Yes. Good to see you there. Good to see you here and see you there. Dario is with Anthropic. Isn't that what I said? Dario with Anthropic and Elon with XAI? Did you not hear me correctly, or did I think words that I didn't say? I don't even know. If only there was some way we could record that and play it back. Regardless, yes, Dario is Anthropic. Sam Altman is OpenAI, which was a partnership with Elon Musk until they decided it wasn't. They being Sam Altman. Elon's not too happy about it. So Elon created XAI to sort of replace what was supposed to be, OpenAI wouldn't have existed without Elon, and now they've taken it from him. So he's like, well, if I can't get it back, I'll start another one. So Mike's Unboxing, to give you an idea of his content, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he releases different kinds of videos depending on the day of the week. So Saturdays are his day that he does live interactions. And then he does short videos, and then he does his reviews. So the reviews could be keyboards, computer cases, motherboards. They could be some repairs or diagnostics, and there could be some software utilities, quite often free, to help with some of the frustrations of Windows. And he demonstrates all of that, shows you where, in the case of software utilities, here's what it does, here's how you use it, here's where you get it for free. So I appreciate that. Mark Gaines says, our stream is dropping frames. Let's see, OBS says we have dropped some frames, but just 0.4%, like half of 1%, which isn't much. At least on my side, I can confirm very few frames have been dropped. But in fact, some have, but it's not like a problem. It's just a, let me rephrase, it's a problem. It's a little teeny tiny one. Mike's Unboxing says AI firms can run off a cliff sooner than later. Ain't nothing gonna stop that. It's just a matter of time. Well, in a matter of money, right? Mike's Unboxing said he used a free utility today for a video and totally nuked his Windows 11 install. See, he does this for you so that when he makes the video, he's got some experience about what he's talking about and can tell you how to avoid whatever this was. I'm sure the video is going to be either, yes, the utility's good if you are careful with it, or stay the hell away from this utility. I guess we'll wait and find out. Grish Labs is not a fan of Sam. I don't like Sam. I don't know how Sam Altman is not in jail. Personally, I think it's just a matter of time before he's in jail, but I could be wrong. But when he goes to jail, I want to refer back to the video when I said, remember when I told you he'll be going to jail? The things he's done have been very unscrupulous, and I do believe illegal, but I'm not a lawyer, and he's got a lot of money. When the money runs out, I think the law's going to catch up with him, but we'll see. Mike's unboxing. I am not reading that out loud. All right, is there anything else we want to talk about, or we're going to wrap it up for today? It's up to you guys. I'm happy to stay, but I think I've gotten my point across, and I want to go program a garage door opener. I wonder how long it would have taken me to think about that if I didn't do the show today. That just happened today, like as I was talking to you, it occurred to me. Now I don't want to forget. If I don't do it right away. That's the way I am, man. I'm at the point in time in my life where if I don't do something right away, I'll forget to do it. And eventually I'll remember that I forgot. And then I need to do it right away, or this whole thing goes around in circles. So if you ever see me like stop everything I'm doing to take care of something very simple, it's because I don't want to forget to do it later. Let me just do this, it's done, and we'll move on. Mike's Unboxing says AI would be good if it was actually self-aware rather than turning a Google search into an answer. Ooh, that's a tough one, Mike, because it does more than just a Google search. It's so much more than that. Let's go back over here. Let's entertain this idea of the difference between a Google search and a chatbot. So let me come over to this machine here. Okay, let's go full screen. There we go. See it. And let's do a Google search. We'll just go to Google. Why is this now? G, there it is. Google. Google, even better. It's Halloween. Why is my keyboard having a hard time? Or is it my fingers? No, G is not working. Google. Enter. Finally. Mike's Unboxing. Reviews and how-to. That's his channel. Now, what do we see? Videos. It really doesn't tell us much about Mike. The record-breaking most watched unboxing video. Oh, that has nothing to do with Mike. Look at all of this non-Mike related answers we're getting. Now let's do the same thing. We'll just copy this exact prompt and let's compare that to using Gemini or any chatbot, but I'm just going to use, if I didn't use up all of my free, let's just see what happens here. It's going to let me do it. Yeah, it's working. Okay, Mike's Unboxing, Reviews, and How-To is a popular technology. We're getting so much more information. Focus area, DIY computing, PC hardware building, tech accessories, consumer electronics, and helpful troubleshooting guide. Does Mike work alone? Yes. However, he has mentioned he originally started the channel to support his family. Does his family help? I'm trying to lead it somewhere. Who is Kath? See, now it wants me to log in to keep asking questions. So I should probably do this on the other computer because I'm logged in. I'm not paying anything for it. I'm just simply logged in. So let me switch over. Let's get back over to the streamer where I'm logged in and I can continue the conversation. So let me open up Gemini over here. And let me move this keyboard out of my way because I will be using the wrong keyboard if I don't. So over to Gemini. And then we'll share the screen. Window capture that. Okay. Here we go. Who is Mike from Mike's Unboxing YouTube? Let's start there. Okay. Is he married? No personal information. Aha. Who is Kath? Ah, now we're getting some information. What would be a good, here's what you can't do with Google. What would be a good slogan for Mike to use on his channel? Here we go, Mike. Unboxed, tested, solved. Or real tech, honest reviews, simple fixes. Making PC tech simple, one box at a time. Unbox, build, fix. Proper tech reviews, no nonsense in a classic UK tone. Make it funnier. So you can't get Google to customize. So make the slogan snarky and British. No PR bullocks, no fluff, just PC stuff. Unboxing overpriced bits of plastic so you don't have to. Brutally, okay. Tested thoroughly, reviewed honestly, disappointed frequently. There's classic British. Oh, great, another motherboard. Let's get on with it then. Faff-free tech reviews for people who actually build PCs and fixing PCs so you don't throw yours out the window. See, this is where search doesn't help you, right? The AI agent could take the information and rearrange it and define it in a way that these aren't slogans, right? You could even say it's AI hallucinating, but in this case, I'm asking it to generate answers customized to my inquiry versus something like Google, where if we put the same inquiry in, we likely get the same answers. Like if you look at Wikipedia for Mike's Unboxing and I look at Wikipedia for Mike's Unboxing, we get the exact same information. But we may not get the same information depending on what we ask with the chatbot. And furthermore, it can customize, like, let me think. How can I tell Mike I respect his content without telling him I respect his content? Let's see what suggestions it has. Oh, I think I broke it. Oh no, I have to scroll down. Here's some comments it recommends I could say. Watch the whole thing without touching the fast forward key once. Straight to the point, no 10-minute useless intro, proper video. Save me from buying a useless brick. Fewer sponsorships, more actual bench testing. I actually trust your bench results over somebody else. Showed this to my mate who actually hates watching tech videos, and even he didn't fall asleep. Don't hate on this one, Mike. Put the kettle on. Like, I don't even have to come up with my own responses. I can let it be clever for me. Google searches won't do that. Anyway, see what I'm getting at? AI left Keith out. I'm pissed. Who the hell is Keith? Hold on. Hold on a minute. I don't need to ask that question. I can self-serve. Who is Keith? See, it keeps the context. There's no prominent member or regular co-host named Keith. Where presence is Mike Churchill alongside Kathy, who helps manage channel administration. References to Keith in connection with channel typically stem from video meta or other. Keith Cooper, a well-known UK photography and printer setup reviewer who frequently appears in recommended video sidebars. Is that who Mike was referring to? Let's test the accuracy of AI live right now, because I don't know the answer to this. But you know who does? Mike, and he's in our chat room right now. Mike says AI has its uses, but it's drawing us in until we can't live without it. Well, our cell phones did that a long time ago. So what's changed? It's just more making us dumber. Okay, it does make life easier. And they do say ignorance is bliss. So we should have a generation of kids being very happy. Less fighting and arguing. Try and see the bright side, my friend. What was the question, Mike says? Who is Keith, Mike? Tell us. It says AI left. Oh, AI left Kath out. See, I don't have AI eyes. AI left Kath out. No, it included it there. It did actually acknowledge Kath on that recent. That was my bad. So it's just as AI corrects and apologize, I can correct back to AI. My bad, I meant Kath. As I mentioned earlier, I like that little snub it gave me. Kath, often called Lady Kath by channel followers, works alongside Mike behind the scenes. Kath is Mike's version of what we have with Mara. And they're both 4 letters. And they both administer our channels. You know, despite living a continent apart, we have a lot in common. She does the administration, manages. That's exactly what Mara does for me. Occasionally helps out during hands-on testing. Yep. It's like looking in a mirror. Thankfully, the cat doesn't jump up on the counter and show its butt off on camera. The stray cat tends to be camera shy, and I'm okay with that. But we're getting more and more similar. It won't be long now before the cat jumps up and says, "Look at my butt." Then you won't be able to tell our 2 channels apart. Mike's Unboxing says, yes, Kath is often referred to as Lady Kath. That is right. Let's try something else. Let's just have a little fun. Don't have to be so serious all the time with AI. Does Mike have a nickname? In channel branding and merch, the platform's often abbreviated as MUB, Mike's Unboxing. Among regular viewers and community members, Kath is affectionately referred to as Lady Kath, but Mike keeps things straightforward and goes by his actual name. But is it his actual name? Okay. What if he is lying? Try this on a Google search and let me know how far you get. Unless he's pulling off an elaborate decade-long witness protection cover identity just to review ATX power supplies and test Thermalright all-in-one coolers, it's safe to say Mike Churchill is his actual name. Okay, fair enough. Nothing beats the sheer commitment of fabricating a global witness protection scheme just to give no-nonsense advice on cable management and BIOS updates. If you ever decide to drop one of those dry British compliments in his comment section, let me know. It lands. That's hilarious. I love it. And we have different types of answers it can give us. Like we can do faster answers, more advanced reasoning type, very serious analytical answers, and then extended complex problem solving answers. And then you pay for these more advanced. So we're just on the middle here. So you know me, I'm a middle guy. I don't like the low, and I'm not a big fan of the high. Right there in the middle. I never want to be first. I never want to be last. I just always want to be next. All right. And so that default right there is perfect for me, which is just kind of generalized, a little rough around the edges. And these get more polished depending on, you know, how technical and precise you want to get. So do know that as we demonstrate this, we're demonstrating a certain mode of it. The free one, the default one, because that's the one you most likely is the one you'll want to use anyway when given a choice. Dennis wants to know, was the Gemini app you were looking for earlier the Gemini AI Studio? Well, let's, I don't think so, because when we asked Gemini, it said it didn't have an app. But what we can do is say, what is Gemini AI Studio? I'm going to guess it's for coding, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a developer playground. So that's like if you want to write code, if you're a software writer, it's sort of like Codex from Anthropic, something. It's sort of it's an open AI. I mean, anyway, I think it's for having a little help if you're writing software. Yeah, creators who want to build custom AI prompts and applications. That's what I thought it was. I was just looking for the chat, and it said there is no Gemini app for Windows, but there is for your phone. You just get it from the Play Store, whether it's Google or Apple. All right, let me get back over here again. Google does all chatbots. Well, it depends, right? So when we do a Google search, the Google search may give you an AI response that you can then continue, which opens in Gemini, or the Google search doesn't result in any AI response, as we saw in this unit over here, where you just get standard Google answers. So yes, in many cases, you can do a search with Google that then offers the Gemini chat window, for sure, because they want you in Gemini. And if they can lead you there, obviously they'd be missing an opportunity to not take advantage of it. But it doesn't happen with any consistency. To be fair, we built the Windows, what is it, Window Master app? I don't know what that is. Let me, oh, you know, I was just talking about the cat. I was literally just talking about the cat, the stray cat that has broken into the house and won't leave. And now she's walking into the studio. Now, she's never jumped up on the table. I don't think she will. Maybe you give it time and there's going to be cat butt, and then you'll say, am I watching a Mike's unboxing video? Although this cat looks like Louis Rossman's cat. Are you Blackberry? No? I agree. That's not Blackberry. Sniffing everything okay? Did all check out? Doing your rounds? Find any bombs? No, just left a few. Thank you. All right. What is the Window Master app? Okay, let me go back over here. And Mike has shown a lot of apps, so I don't know which is which. Let's go back. What is the Windows Master app? Third-party utility with reference to Mike's unboxing. See if we can narrow this down a little bit. Windows Master is a custom Windows application developed by Mike himself. Oh, I didn't realize he wrote it. This man has some skills. Window and monitor position restore. It's designed as a lightweight utility to fix multi-monitor layout issues in Windows, specifically saving and restoring application window positions across multiple displays so they don't get scrambled or reset. Hey, that's cool. Mike built the application to solve the common frustration of Windows moving desktop windows around after sleep cycles or display reconnection. Oh, we all hate that, don't we? He introduced and demoed the tool on his live streams to share progress runs. Well, shame on me. How unsupportive could I be? I thought you were just showing other people's apps that you found. It's your own app. I need to check that out since it's different when you know the person who made it. Then I can make fun of them after that. No, I'm kidding. I can be jealous. So one of the things that's frustrating is when we do the testing and I use my utilities for like hardware information where I'm showing the temperatures. Speed port back here. Let me show you where Mike's utility might come in handy. And it's not Windows' fault, it's just a badly written app. But it's free. Not Mike's, the thing I'm going to show you here. I want to be clear. If we come over here to the desktop, let me just demo this and we'll wrap it up for today, because this frustrated me until I figured out how to fix it. So let's say we use the hardware info app that I always use when I'm watching the temps when I'm running Cinebench, right? So we drag that over here as we always do. And just for the sake of this example, that's all I need. And we're going to start it. And you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't caught on yet, you'll recognize this when I start it. We do sensors only, start. This is a free app, so it's not really very well made. Sort of like take it or leave it. Get your money back if you don't like it. And I often move it over here and I'll do something like this, right? And I want to look at the temps. And so here's our temps. By the way, this thing's running nice and cool, isn't it? And, okay. For whatever reason, a video driver goes in, Windows Update changes it, or a reboot, and it synchronizes back into 4K. So let's emulate what that looks like. So we close this, so let's say we reboot, and for some reason, the monitor then goes to 4K mode. So 4K. Right here, right? Keep those changes and it will bring that up 300%. That's kind of the Windows default. Okay, now we're in 4K. Okay, 4K. I go back to run the test. I don't realize I'm in 4K because it's 300% scaled. And I go to run this, and if it works like I think it will, we won't be able to see anything. Whoops. Yeah. Start. Okay. Look now. How do I get this back? What just happened? Everything got squished, and there's no way to put it back. Like I go full screen. Nope, that's not helpful. This is frustrating. You go up here and manually move every single one of these very, very precisely. Slide that over. Slide that. What a pain. Why did that happen? Right click, go to display settings, put that resolution back to 1920 by 1080. Keep those changes. Keep that at 125 where it was. Close this, reopen it. Now, because I've moved those things, like if I'd have left it alone, it would have opened fine. Grab an end of it now that I should have left it alone. I should not have modified it. Now I got to put it back. See that bar I moved over here? It still remembers I moved it, puts it back, and then I lost my scale. So a quick way to fix this, since I monkeyed with it, is to close it. Jeez, look at this. Let's just close it and delete that INI file. Just take it out of there. Start it again. How about now? Oh, I just wanted sensors only. Screwed up. Let's just do the sensors. Still not opening up. I think I can mix that a little. Still get everything on the screen. No, it's still remembering that setting for some reason. I wonder if Mike's utility would help with putting that back. It's just poorly designed. It needs to be updated. If I could see the code, I could have Gemini fix it for me, rewrite the code. That's how things are changing. Things I don't even know how to do. I just tell it what I want it to do, and it'll do it for me and give me the code, and I can recompile it. Don't know why the author isn't doing that. And I'm not sure if Mike's utility would help with that or not. It might be worth trying. I now know when that happens to just close it. Don't modify the hardware info software. Don't try and make it fit. Just close it. Adjust my resolution back the way it was. Why it changed, I don't know. It opens up fine, and it's no big deal. Mike's Unboxing said we did a video on it. Oh, I have no doubt. It's also on GitHub for window positioning after sleep and resume. Nice. Now, why Windows doesn't have this built in, I expect Microsoft to steal that from you, because that's usually how they get their best ideas. And Mike says, what I'm looking at in this demo is a Windows DPI scaling issue. I had a similar issue with HW Monitor, and there is a way to fix it. We made a video on it. Our utility won't fix it. It's a scaling problem, not a position problem. Well, I guess I'll be going to your channel later. Actually, wait a minute. I have an idea. Again, this is retraining our brains for what we know how to fix problems, to say, why don't we use these new tools? Let me move this keyboard and mouse out of the way. Show me Mike's unboxing video about DPI affecting HW Monitor. Let it do the work. Let's see if it does it. Look at this. That's exactly what we're looking for. Right-click the application, shortcut Properties, navigate to Compatibility tab, and click Change High DPI. Click Override High DPI. Click the and then here's the video. Look at that. Once we can retrain ourselves to utilize these new tools, everything gets more efficient, and the time you have to invest to find what you're looking for is significantly reduced. As a live and real world example of solving problems, I find no better way to communicate this lesson than to demonstrate it unrehearsed, on a whim, to give you an example and inspire you what you can come up with. And remember, the more you use it, the better you'll get at using it. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that I've inspired you. I hope that you'll investigate this. You know what I'm going to be doing after the show. And then I guess I'll have an extra garage door opener. Or it doesn't work. You'll have to ask me on Friday's show. We'll be back live Friday with a review of the Miniswarm Mini PC. Thanks to Mara, as always, for all the work she does in the background. Our channel administrator, designing our thumbnails and setting up our video descriptions. and arranging for us to receive products, reaching out to companies and asking for reviews, review units and things like that. She does all that administrative work. And she loves it, which is great because that's the worst part of the job. If I do work for a client, I hate writing the invoice. Laura takes care of that. I go, do me a favor, write an invoice, da 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 da. When we get that gentleman's computer in, that we have to fix, I'll say, hey, Mara, can you write an invoice? And, we did this for this much, and shipping was that much, and the cables were this much. Did you write that up? She's right on it. She loves it. So it's a real nice balance. So thank you to her for all the work that she does. Thank you to Buster for the contribution, as always. And thank you to everybody joining us in our chat room for just being a part of the community and sharing your Wednesday with us. It's always fun when we get other YouTube celebrities to join us. It's always flattering. And of course, each and every one of you are legends because you're here, part of this community. We have an amazing community here, and it wouldn't be without you. So thanks to each and every one of you. We'll look forward to seeing you on Friday, 1 o'clock Pacific time. And for our friends in Britain, cheers. And to everyone else, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, bye for now.